ahead and get this rolling. Call this thing to order at 9:00 or 8:05. Need to certify we have a quorum, Ron?
I thought for the
Or you want to
workshop, we
do we have to do that? The workshop? No.
No, this is,
Okay.
no, you don't do any of that.
Okay.
Yeah, this
Sorry.
isn't a board meeting.
Yep.
That's tomorrow.
Yep. All right. So, Joe,
Well, you
you
want
want
to,
to have,
yeah,
we talked about last night? Okay.
Yeah.
Tim?
Yeah.
We thought maybe we'd have you start walking through all of the things that you're looking to accomplish, since that's
Scott has
obviously
to break off for a job meeting
a day job.
after a while.
something more important.
He wants
Something
to
that
be
pays
here.
substantially better than this job.
He wants to make sure he's here for all your stuff.
Okay.
So you get to go first.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, first, just wanna
So if you want to,
run down through the
do you want
spreadsheet.
me to go to the capital projects list first?
Yeah, let's go there.
Because that's where all your stuff is, right?
Or this.
Oh, that.
You want to start with this, Tim?
That's in the capital list.
Yep. Okay.
Let's go down the capital list.
Okay.
So do you want to look at that, or do you want to look at this
Spreadsheet.
spreadsheet? Now, there's a couple of things you've got in operations as well. So let's make sure we cover those. All right. So I got to share my screen here. So,
What else we
host
have?
disabled participant screen sharing.
No, I didn't disable anything. I didn't disable it.
There it is.
Now, that was my screen, I think. Okay, try it now, Joe.
All right, there we go. Okay, there it is.
Start the job.
So for
Gary, I got rid of that Zoom screen over to the side, but on mine, but it's still there on yours. There we go. Okay.
Kathy and Ron, that's page 3 of Joe's handout the other day, 2 days ago.
See if I can open that up a little bit here. Okay. That's about as big as I can get it.
I want to start with the things that are worthy of this group's attention. I want to go down to line 23, the signage. I'm carrying $9,000 for a new stone sign that'll go on our first parking island in the lodge parking lot. That will be a place where we can put our logo, Cameron Lodge, Base Camp Restaurant, and then something for the subsidies real estate office. It'll have a light in it. It'll be similar construction to the stone sign that's in front of the fitness center. It'll also be similar to a sign that Glacier is going to be installing. I think they're going to do it this year, but it'll be a sign that's more generic out by where our existing Tameron sign is. It'll have a Tameron Fitness Center. There'll be an arrow pointing to the gatehouse. It's more of a street sign kind of a function that Glacier is going to be doing on their property. So I would.
Will it be in alignment with, I mean, they're going to put theirs up on the endpoint.
Right.
And that's going to say fitness facility, Tameron. It won't have the restaurant on it, right?
They had a spot on a proposal that did have base camp that Susan sent me last week.
Okay.
We wanted to see if we could say base camp restaurant. When I told what's his name, Logan Newton, that I wasn't going to help him pay for his landscape over there, the conversation about the sign with me stopped. And then he said he was going to have to go talk to Goodman.
Right.
And that's when my conversation with Susan kind of melted away. The last version I saw did say base camp, but not base camp.
Well, I mean, the only thing I just want to make sure we're not duplicating signage, right? If we've got it in one place, we don't need it 100 feet away from it, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I can, when my meeting with Goodman yesterday,
What we talked about, and I don't know if this is what we talked about, they're gonna take out that monument sign. Oh, that's right, you said they couldn't reuse it,
Can't
it's gonna break
It'll
apart.
break.
Yeah, okay, never mind that.
so, but they're still gonna put a new one, like the one out in the very front,
Exactly.
right there at that end
Uh-huh.
point. So my only point is, if theirs is going to have signage for Tamron, signage for Base Camp, signage for Sotheby's on it, do we want to spend money on a second one to go on our island?
Well, here's something, you brought this up yesterday. They don't want to use on that sign, and the one that's on the end of the peninsula there, they don't want to use our logo. They just want Tamron in block letters.
That's their preference. They want it to be consistent.
So wouldn't it be nice if, I mean, you're spending money on it, but wouldn't it be nice if after you rounded the corner and now there's a sign there, similar, but it's bigger and it's got
Have a
Tamron logo.
Tamron logo.
Spend the money. I mean, it's certainly, I mean, it's just, I mean, it's.
I mean, it doesn't have to
$100
do,
one, so.
it doesn't have to duplicate the stuff that's out there, but it just presents our image,
Okay. That's,
you know.
again, that's okay. I mean, I can tell you right now that they really don't want to go with the logo. And part of the trade-off,
and that's fine.
what I'm trying to do as part of this ultimate compromise is maybe we'll agree on that, but let's start working on getting a sign on the 550 too. He don't
Yeah.
want to do it, but,
And he didn't want to
he
do
wants
it.
us to compromise.
He
on
doesn't
other
want to do
things,
it
too.
because he knows Carlton doesn't want to do it.
Right.
The other thing that was open when we had our discussion, unless you know something different, Tim, they were okay with a generic restaurant sign. They were not.
What's that background noise?
It's the reverberation of us.
Oh,
It's the echo that Ron's hearing, I'm afraid.
oh, okay.
He was not, or she was saying not no to Sophie's at that point, out on that point. Did you and Jim discuss that at all yesterday?
We hang up the phone. Hang up the handset. See if that helps. He's on speaker, so you won't lose it.
No problem.
We're just trying to see if we can get rid of that echo. You're still here. Okay.
Okay.
It's still there.
It's worse. No.
No, to answer your question, I didn't get into the specifics of whether Sotheby's was going to be on there or not, Jim. That's why I asked about it.
Yeah, I don't.
Is Sotheby's going to be on the peninsula sign?
I
didn't
got
see
the
it.
impression it was just going to be Tamron when I talked to him yesterday, but you mentioned that they had a space for Base Camp.
She had, the version she sent me early last week that did have Base Camp on it. It
Okay.
did not have Sotheby's.
Okay, well, we can have that discussion with them and see. Or, if the decision is we put a sign in our flower bed, then we put the Sotheby's sign there.
Yeah, I guess for this discussion, I propose that we carry $9,000 in the capital program in case we can get.
We can put anything on there that they don't put on the other one.
Fair enough.
And we can put our logo there,
Yeah.
bigger.
Now, back to your point, Tim, I'm a little confused. The sign has always been the individual's responsibility, theirs or ours. Were they asking us to do some landscaping out on the peninsula? When you
This,
say you're not going to pay
this
any money,
relates back to the 2017 agreement.
agreement,
Yeah.
which was just landscaping.
Yeah.
So
And-
since we're talking about that, let me bring you up to speed on discussion with Goodman yesterday. I told him we have an agreement. We're not going to renege on our agreement. We need to, he said he would submit plans. And I said, Tim, I really don't care even if you submit plans, but let's sit down together and figure out what we want to do together. He thinks 50 grand is ridiculous. Why we ever agreed to that? He thinks we were dumb because that's way more money than we need. He's not going to do anything on that long edge because nothing will hold there anyway.
And
He
That's-
just wants to do the.
That's why it was 50K.
That's why it was 50,000.
The thought there was to build a wall. That's why it was 50K.
Okay,
When I talked to,
apparently it's no-
when I discussed it with Berkman, and we didn't get into specifics in the agreement.
Yeah.
But when I spoke with Berkman and Harris about it, when we were negotiating that contract, we talked about not so much landscaping there, because you couldn't keep anything growing there. You didn't have the irrigation, maybe trees or something like that. But we talked about building a wall, a short wall, capped wall, all the way up along there. That's why it was going to go, that's why the money was going to
Well, and he said they may still have to do something purely from a retention perspective,
retention and
but. he
and
said
that is
nothing-
kind of an ugly area.
Well, and but he said he'd rather leave it natural than
Yeah.
try to maintain it and irrigate it and
Yeah.
keep plants alive that are just going to die in winter.
Their landscape person, Kelsey, and Karen and I and Logan met and looked out there and talked about what plant materials would survive out there on the peninsula. And then Logan sent me the cost estimate. I said, congratulations, this looks great. And he said, well, let's talk about who's paying for it. And I said, Logan, we're not paying for that. He said, well, it's in the agreement. I said, the scope of the agreement is significantly different than what was written down in 2017. We're not putting $50,000 in because the scope of that agreement has changed dramatically.
Yeah.
So I'm not paying for it.
And I think Goodman agrees that,
Yeah.
that, you know, there's no reason for us to spend that kind of money. Let's just get the teams together, figure out what they want, what collectively we want to do, agree. And if we're going to do some of the labor, which Karen's already out there digging holes, she's going to plant something in those holes.
Oh yeah, we're doing our,
We're already doing it. You know, we can represent that, hey, we've already done this. What else needs to be done? And let's figure out what the numbers
So
are.
all we're really talking about is on that peninsula, right?
I think so, because we're already doing the flower beds.
We're doing our flower beds.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't
And we should keep
notice the
track-
flower beds.
And we
before I
should
went to
keep
the
track
meeting.
of what we're spending in there so that we can say, look,
Oh, yeah.
we spent this towards that.
That's exactly what I think we did.
What we
That's
spent
right.
a
That's
year ago
exactly what I
to
told
irrigate
Logan.
that whole area.
We've
And
already
the
got
yeah,
$20,000.
Well, that wasn't a year ago. That
In
was
our
this summer.
Okay.
Yeah,
You know, all the irrigation that went in there, that's part of it.
Yeah, and I can tell you that Jim just wants it to look nice, and he wants us all to agree on it. And he took the stance that we're not going to pay anything as being against the agreement that we signed. And I said, we're not going to pay anything. We want to dress up as well.
Yeah.
But the 50 grand seemed ridiculous, and you guys haven't given us any plans, so we just started doing it on our own. So he's cool with it. I think as long as we all agree, maybe stick a $20,000 number in the budget. Just so that we have some money there. I can find it hard to believe we're going to spend 20.
Well, we're spending 10 on those 3 islands for materials only. We're doing all the labor. And that we weren't making progress on toward that agreement work. So we took it upon ourselves to do the 3 islands, which we're doing now.
We also had to poke irrigation underneath the pavement and up
Yeah,
earlier,
yeah.
and that was several thousand. I mean, a few thousand.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I just think we track our costs. We'll stick some money in there and finish whatever needs to be done on the endpoint. I think is really all they're talking about.
yeah. But I'm with you on the budget. I think new money to be spent, unlikely to be more than 20, given what we've already spent.
And
Well, here's the thing on that whole landscaping thing. The agreement states that we get together, well, they're supposed to produce a plan. We weigh in on the plan, we review the plan, we come to an agreement, okay, this is what we're all gonna do. And then we budget the money. The question is, do you want to budget money for that now and estimate it, or, because we don't have it in there. We don't have it in here.
I think we budget $20,000. I go back to Jim and I say, we've already done the 2 islands. This is what we've got into it. We put some money in the budget to finish the rest. And let's get the teams together, figure out what that rest looks like for that end cap. He indicated he would submit what his plans are if we need them. But again, we're already moving forward. And as long as our plans, I can't imagine we're planning something that's going to deviate from what is a natural, what will grow here, what's natural. So it's likely going to be in alignment with what they were looking for anyway. You may have talked to Logan about that already. But
Yes. We've been through it with Logan and Kelsey.
okay. Yeah, I don't think Jim's going to be a problem. He understands why we didn't, why we pulled the money back out of the budget. He gets it. He just says, we need to beautify that. Let's just get together and do it.
So Tim, I just scrolled down. So lines 34 and 35.
Yeah.
Major improvements to landscaping and landscape irrigation upgrades. Is any of that intended to be
No.
what we're talking about now?
And under the new projects for 2021, a little further down on that sheet,
That's right there.
there's an item called major improvements up to landscape.
It's right there.
That's $30,000, and that's strictly for planting materials going into all of the planting beds around the whole property. We went and counted the beds and sized them up, took the pricing information from these 3 beds, said we got $30,000 worth of plants to buy to install and freshen up our beds. That's what that $30,000 is. If we need to do something at the peninsula, then we need to add something to that 30,000.
Or make another line at the
Or
bottom.
make it.
Well, that's what I'm about. That's what I'm
Yeah.
about
I
to
think
do.
I'd like to keep it separate if we can.
What do you call it, Joe? Peninsula landscape?
I'm putting it in there now. You can see me typing.
It's hard to see.
I got it as big as I can get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could make it a little bigger, but then I'd start to lose. Yeah.
Say, I call it fitness contract, landscaping. So we know.
Okay. 20,000. Is that what you said?
Yeah. I mean, based on what we've done so far, that seems like it should be more than sufficient for that
That's
income,
more
right?
than sufficient. The area that they're talking
It's not
about
that big.
is smaller than the 3
Right.
items. Yeah.
I mean, we don't even need to budget 20 grand. If we don't want to, we can do less, but
Yeah, well, I'm guessing we've spent close to 20 already, so.
Well, we're counting our labor. We're going to be pushing 20 on just our 3 items.
and we can represent that to Jim.
Yeah.
I can tell you he's gonna be reasonable on it.
Good.
So we had, so 828, I'm sorry. So 823 signage, are we leaving that where it is?
829 signage.
Oh, line 23, 829, yeah.
Yeah.
Are we leaving that at 9,000?
That's what putting a stone sign with a light and, the signage on is going to cost. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Next line.
Just before we finish that,
Yep.
so if we're gonna have one that says restaurant, we're gonna have one that says Sotheby's. Are we paying for those plaques, or is
I've got money in there to put something on that sign.
so that's included
I have
in the
not.
9,000?
I have not asked Base Camp Restaurant for any money for a sign yet. I've not asked Sotheby's for any money for a sign yet.
Our agreement with Sotheby's is pretty clear. They pay for it.
Yeah, I don't think that some of these will be a problem.
Yeah,
And I don't
I
think Base Camp will want a sign out there too.
I would think they would, but so is the 9,000 doesn't include the little plaques, or it does?
It's got the plaque, no letters on it.
Okay, close enough.
Next line item is the plumbing refurb in the lodge. You saw-
Well, it's the unplanned capital expenses.
Yeah. It's
And you
unplanned
bumped that from, we usually put 25,000 in there. You doubled it to cover that, your plumbing project.
The plumbing project is coming in and doing a stack in the lodge to get our arms around what it's really going to cost and what the logistics are going to be in accomplishing this replacement of the pipe. There's going to be questions we have to figure out about who owns that pipe, who owns the horizontal pipe, who's responsible for paying for the finishes that are disrupted when I open up the ceiling below and the walls to get all of this work done. We're gonna have to get into the detail of the documentation and probably get some legal opinion.
So I understand when you say a stack, you're basically opening the wall, finding a pipe, it's running up the wall
From
and running
basement all the way to
connection all the way up to the top.
Yep.
Okay, and you're gonna replace it with PVC?
Yep.
Okay. And this is our experiment.
We're gonna do one stack as an experiment.
Okay.
And I've had pricing anywhere from 15,000 to 50,000 to do that.
Okay.
So let's go figure one out and learn how to do it efficiently.
And we would be hiring the plumbing company to do that?
Yes. Yeah, this is a big project.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's what I would propose for the unplanned capital expense number.
Okay.
The number 832, improve area north of the lodge.
Okay.
I had a landscaper come out and meet with me and Taryn. I sent you guys a little sketch.
You're talking about the old T box.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
The old tee box. There's been people that have slipped and fallen as they walk down that slope. So putting stairs in provides easier access for our people, obviously. We were contemplating timber with some stone inlaid so we can shovel snow in the winter, and it's going to be a good solid. It'll last a long time. We've got steps coming up over and up onto where that first tee is. We're going to put sod, put an irrigation system up there. And I also put $7 grand in for a gazebo some 12 by 12 space, if somebody wants to put a grill or something. And plantings all along the slope that go up to the old cart path. The total estimate was like $48,000 to do that. It was $35,000 for the steps. I forget what the other breakdown.
We had the irrigation in there too.
Yeah, irrigation was $3,000, the gazebo's $7,000, the plantings and the sods $5,000. So that does something meaningful at that north end. It also provides a much more safe access to the area up there.
I walked up there yesterday, then what are they doing up there now? They were painting on the
I
ground
just
and-
put sticks to show where the steps are gonna go.
Oh, so that's what it was, okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I walked up there yesterday when I walked down the glacier and I
We
could
said,
see,
what do we
I could
do?
see people falling on their ass coming down.
It
that
has
hill.
happened. It has happened.
I'm sure.
It has happened. We had somebody threaten to sue us over it with the suit got, she didn't follow through on it, but she did open a lawsuit.
Well, and I've talked with some residents that they've seen people. I mean, there's a lot of traffic taking dogs up and down that slope.
Yeah.
So that's what I proposed for the $48,500.
Okay, so for Kathy and for Ron, looking at the spreadsheets that Joe sent out, that number was 35,000 on your spreadsheet. That number is now increased to 48,500.
That was changed. That was changed yesterday.
Moving down, the long-term asset replacement schedule had carpet replacement for the lodge scheduled for next year.
No.
I got pricing, I added some, and the 140,000 is a good number. My question is, I would propose that we hold on that until we get our plumbing work done. I would hate to go put new carpet in and then go start a major renovation.
So you're talking about holding off on the carpeting for 4 or 5 years?
I don't know how many years, but the carpet right now is in pretty good shape. It's not updated, it's old, but I'd certainly like to find out. I'd like to hold off on it at least 2 years.
Well, when Eric sent out the asset replacement update, it indicated that the plumbing repairs was about a 4 or 5 year project. Eric?
It's a 5 year in the lodge, yes, 5 years per property. Stretches to 10 years because we don't do it all at once.
And we're gonna learn a lot. I mean, if this thing only costs 20 grand to do a stack, we could accelerate that schedule significantly.
Which is
So I personally think the vast majority of the carpet isn't in that bad a shape.
Right.
Now, I know we've had some complaints from, I think it was Alan. What's his name?
Chris.
I'll temper it.
Yes.
There's a couple of areas where it's really worn. Is that problematic? I don't know where they're talking about, so I haven't seen it.
My experience, my observation on that carpet is it's not significantly worn. There's areas where it's faded significantly, but no, I don't think
Yeah,
it's
up at
worn.
the top of this tower in the center, it's faded because of the sun
Because of
coming
the
through
sun.
those windows.
Yeah.
We're having some breakdown of the adhesive between the pad and the carpet, which is causing some waving. The only way to fix that is to take that piece up, put new base in, and put new carpet down. And we don't have, I mean, I did that once this fall in front of 315, and it worked out great.
You can't get a carpet guy in here and re-stretch it, take the wave out?
No, I tried to do that.
Really?
Yes. Well, the piece,
I mean,
the
because
piece I
of-
replaced was stained. But he said, if we need to take out waves that are coming out because of the breakdown of the adhesive, we could probably reuse the carpet, but we do have to go get new pad underneath it.
Hmm.
And there's not a lot of those, there's some of them. I think overall the condition of the carpet's in good shape.
I think we can justify using the piping replacement as cause for holding off on carpet replacement, because we could end up having water get out on that carpet anyway.
Oh, we will.
Right. So
We will. And we're gonna be dragging
I mean,
drywall.
maybe what we do is we punt for a year, let's get through this plumbing issue,
Yeah.
figure out what our steps are, and then maybe we can look at more of a tiered program for the carpet. In other
We're gonna
words,
be
as we finish certain areas, we can start carpet replacement and then just continue to do that along the way. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with punting on it.
Hey, Tim, on the plumbing, I've had some projects, instead of replacing the cast iron pots and things, we've just gone through with that membrane and gone through there instead of tearing into walls and stuff. Would that work here or not?
The plumbing pipes have been, they get used and then they dry out. Then they get used and they dry out. The inside is rotting.
Okay.
And as it rots, it captures debris. So your pipe that's this big only has that much capacity right now.
Okay.
That's part of our backup problems in the lodge and in outliers.
Would you, I wonder if you'd be able to, what size are these stacks? What size pipe is it? 4 inch? Okay. With that membrane thing, they'd have to remount the pipe and.
Yeah, it's worked pretty well for us. It's expensive.
Yeah.
But it's worked well. But I just.
Yeah, if you can avoid disruptive finishes, it'd be
Yeah.
worth looking at. But the pipes they're constricted so much on the inside.
But the problem is you have the vertical pipe, but then you also have the laterals. And it's the laterals where the biggest problem is.
Yeah, I was just worried about the stack.
Yeah, the stack up and down.
We've not been able to do the side ones, but
Yeah.
we had some old bank buildings that we had to go in.
Yeah.
Do the thing.
Make that part of the experiment. We can at least take a look at it.
So are we going to take the 140 out for this year?
That was going to be my next question.
I think so. I mean,
I agree.
it doesn't make any sense to start replacing carpet and just go ruin it again.
We've already talked about the plant materials in all beds. We have irrigation issues out there. We've really got to go through and do a rezone and a lot of replacements for heads and lines that are broken. So that's why I've got $20,000. We will perform a lot of this work, but we may have to pull in an irrigation contractor to assist because there is quite a bit of work out there.
I can tell you, this is needed badly, especially in Pinecone. The irrigation systems, the lawn watering systems in Pinecone are not working right. There's pressure problems in some
Yeah,
circuits.
that's the 20.
That's the 20 on the irrigation.
Yeah,
And so that's 20 in it over and above what you would do with your own staff?
That'll buy material. I've got to buy heads,
Right.
boxes, clocks, pipe.
So
In
Caleb,
addition to that, I will hire contractors to do some of the work.
okay,
The $20,000 covers contractor work and parts and pieces for our people.
but you might very well also include 2 months of Caleb's time on it.
Well, we've got Caleb
In the budget somewhere else. I just want
Yeah,
people to understand that's not all we're spending on irrigation.
Right.
There's another piece that's our in-house labor.
I'll bet 30 or 40% of his time this summer will be on irrigation. The next line item was renovate the maintenance office. I sent out a sketch to the board members yesterday that showed the proposed use of the maintenance office, which would include our maintenance operations. And by that, I mean some workstations for our maintenance staff to go in and do their work on the computer system. Every day we go in, grab our work orders, and go out and do the work. We're getting rid of the storage. I don't want to store stuff, supplies, tools, etc. in this space. This is for coming in and getting our work done and getting back out. I've also taken a portion of the space.
That's the existing maintenance?
Yes.
space? Okay.
The existing bullpen.
Yeah.
Maintenance is going to be in half of it. The other half would be utilized for a small conference room down where we can use on that first floor level where Elisa and I and Gary work. And I put some walls up so I could have an office, so I can actually have phone calls in an office rather than walking outside. In combination, we've also proposed a reutilization of the space behind the front desk. The real estate office is interested in taking, did you see this, Greg? Okay. Sotheby's is interested in taking Heather's old office and poking a storefront door out to the sidewalk. I wanted to reconfigure the back of house, the back behind the front desk to provide space for the front desk staff, an office for Gary, so that when owners come in and do their orientation, they're not sitting in a construction office. And this seems to be a great great utilization of all that space behind the front desk.
What discussions have been had with Sotheby's relative to their participation?
We have not had any participation cost participations yet. They were supposed to be in this week. And I told them the first time we talked about it, I said, that door is $8,000. So just be aware. Let's see, next was the lockers. I gave you another little sketch for utilization of some storage space we have on the second floor. It's at the top of the stairs that come out of the existing owner
Yeah, where you and I walked.
units. You and I walk. I want to clear that out, put up some cages and rent that space at our rental rates. Because we do have a waiting list. Barry, I think it's 15 deep right now.
About that, yeah.
You know, it generates about $6,000 a year in rent. Costs about 15 grand to put the cages and some additional light bulbs. I'd really like to utilize that space. I can't think of another use of that space. It's just too far away from all of our other activities to even use it as effective storage.
Where would the
space.
public access it from? From the doors that enter it on the outside in the hallway, or from?
No.
Same way they enter the owner storage now,
Yep.
Just come up the
All the
stairs.
way
and then
down.
just go right up the stairs. Yeah.
I'm going to have get an opinion from an architect. I don't know if we have to have an emergency egress through another route. So I got to figure out that other opening. But if we approve the budget, then we'll get into the details of the egress.
Well, you got that door up there already. You just put it.
Well, I want it to be secure, but if the building's on fire, I want somebody to push a panic bar,
Yeah,
have an alarm go off,
go out through the second
go out
floor.
through Heather's place.
Yeah, go out through the store, the housekeeping storage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to work through that with an architect. Next,
And would that be, just so I'm clear,
Yeah.
we're not talking about using those lockers, right? We're talking about building cages.
Cages,
We have,
just-
okay.
just like what's in the existing storage.
Except they would be smaller.
Mostly, but
Most of them.
on average, smaller.
Well, I mean,
Because you got to think
Carry
about it.
anything
You got to think about it.
upstairs.
Whatever people are putting in there, they've got to haul up and downstairs.
Yeah.
Not like the ones at the lower level where you could actually bring a cart in there or something like that and haul things in and out.
Yeah.
But
the next item is a bad number. I don't understand really yet what it's going to cost to put a bathroom either over there or here or someplace. And we want to do that so that we have an opportunity to put unit 114 into the rental pool. We have employees looking for housing and they can't find anywhere to live.
you don't mean
generates-
rental pool, you mean rent it long term.
I'd like to rent it to, whether we rent it to somebody long-term, I'd love to use it for our employees. I like having them on staff, works out great, and it's inexpensive housing compared to what else is out there. But
But they would,
that
rent,
unit-
they would just be a tenant. you know?
They'd be a
yeah, they're
tenant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're a tenant. But it generates, $9,500, $9,600 a year off of that rental if we can find restroom facilities for this. And I asked myself a question yesterday. If it cost me $8,000 to put a bathroom in here, is it worth $8,000 for me to have a bathroom here versus walking downstairs during a meeting, just like every other hotel in the world? Is it worth it? I don't know. But I've got to find a number to put a bathroom facility in for this conference room so that we can put 114 into a rental property.
My personal opinion is it ain't that far of a walk to go down to the restaurant.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I mean, and half the people have the unit that are coming to the meetings can walk to their unit. So,
That was it, the question.
yeah, I don't know that, I mean, I think it's something that I would suggest we kick the can down the road on that if we decide we want to do it later.
Yeah.
That-
I mean, if it's so
that's just my opinion.
inconvenient, we can still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Take that out.
take that out. Then I didn't put any money into the budget for putting this unit back together. I mean, we took the water heater out when it failed. We never replaced it. It cost about $1,500 for us to put a water heater in. We already have furnishings. We have beds, we have couches, we have tables, we have
We
all
got
of that
plates,
stuff.
coffee cups.
We have cups and we have notebook holders. We're fully furnished.
Silverware.
So I would like to go put that unit back together so that we can get it okay in there. And it's not in the budget because we'll just do it.
You don't need to put anything in the budget to do that?
No, we do not. No. The next line was dollars specifically for this piece of the renovation, the area behind the front desk. We're going to have to tear down a few walls, put a few walls, seal some walls up to the ceiling so we have secure spaces. Probably some sound bed insulation, maybe a few light fixtures. But I carried $50,000 not knowing what that was going to cost and not knowing what Sotheby's is going to put in. When Joe and I spoke earlier this week, we said, okay, Sotheby's, we're going to give you a white box with no door. You got to put the door in, you go do your finishes, floors, paint, whatever. Then you go do our flooring and we go do our little remodel for the rest of the back.
How much did they put into their existing office? Did Sotheby's put into their existing office? Just the signs?
I don't know.
The signs,
Because everything was really already there from Wells.
Yeah, I don't think there was much, I don't think they did a whole lot.
So we're not asking them to do something that they just did 18 months
No,
ago.
and they're very interested in it.
Yeah.
They really
They've had
want-
the big cheese up here saying, we got to do this and we love the outside entrance. They just spent a couple grand on the lighted signs in the hallway.
Yeah.
But they're going to reutilize that.
Yeah.
They've got to repair the walls. But, you know, the door, that door's going to be there at significant expense.
I remember when we put those lighted signs up, we talked about, you know, the agreement was that if they're going to get taken down, you got to fix the walls. And, you know, there you go. It's likely to happen.
The next item was a result of a lot of conversation going around landscape and how we were going to perform our landscape this year. We all agreed that we want to maintain control of the landscaping here. We decided to self-perform lawn mowing, weed whacking, blowing, some of those things that a lot of companies, a lot of properties outsource, but then they end up with, you know, less than desirable landscaping. You get trees getting cut up with string, etc. In order to do that, we're going to need to get another riding mower. So we're carrying $2,500 for a new one, a new riding zero curve, zero turn radius mower. In addition to that, we need to spend a couple $100 for a watering tank for the other pots and things. I think the tank was like $200 or $300 or something.
Is that something you haul around in the back of a cart?
A cart, yeah, exactly.
Or is it on a trailer?
No, it's a cart. Yeah, it's a small.
So the mower is a replacement mower?
No, it's an added mower.
It's an added mower.
We have two. Two?
We have two.
We have two now.
I mean, I don't know. My sense in the south end of Pinecone, riding mower is almost a waste of time. I mean, you mow it faster than you can put a riding mower in there, and then you come back and edge it and trim it and use the, you know, to get to the areas that you can't get to on the riding mower. I mean, it's not like we have big fields. Do we really need another riding mower?
That was the consensus of the landscape crew.
Well, you're only talking, I mean, you're using south end of Pinecone as an example. You got the whole rest of Pinecone.
Right.
And then you got High Point and Gamble Oak. I mean, there's, you know.
Well, I'm not saying zero. I'm just saying, is that the next increment of expense be a third one? I mean, seems like we only mow one property at a time anyway.
Well,
And we do.
driving them around does more wear and tear than using them on the yard.
You want to have one in each area
Oh,
that's
okay.
dedicated to that area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Any other? The next item was 15,000. We've got to do some crack filling, and I do have I've got 3 pretty significant patches around the property. One at Gamble, one at Lodge. I don't remember where the other one was. But if we crack fill every couple of years, we're going to be able to extend the life of these parking lots. I've talked with Mike Stengel in addition to Four Corners Materials about, we really did a good job analyzing, okay, what's the condition of this lot? What do I have to do over the next 5 years to get another 8 out of it? And we got a nice program. the consensus of everybody that I've spoken with, and from my experiences, the seal coat does not extend the life of a parking lot at all. It makes it look great, but you know, when we spent $15,000 up at High Point, about a third of that was crack filling. That extended the life of the parking lot. Painting it black, it's gonna be gray again in 3 years. And it does help.
It's gray again in a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So what, I mean, we've been carrying long-term asset replacement,
and we,
resurfacing, like, which I guess is what we're talking about here.
Well, that's
forever. Is that
repaving is in the long
that's
term.
actually totally
that's a mill
replanting?
overlay.
Yeah.
That's in the long-term asset piece. And we got that scheduled out over the next 8 years for
Okay.
all of the parking lots. This year, I need to do striping on the lodge and 3 major patches and crack filling at 2 lots.
Okay.
So that's what that's for.
Okay.
So what this is doing, Tim, I mean, Scott, is replacing the program where we slurry sealed the parking lots once every 4 years on a rotating basis. So that goes away. And we're doing this program instead,
Oh, okay.
based on what Tim found out from talking to the contractors.
Okay.
Is that
And
accurate?
what was the number we had in on that slurry seal thing?
It was about between, depending on the size of the lot, between 15 and 18,000 a year.
So it's in alignment with that cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Next line item is purchase of 3 pickup trucks to keep on site for our staff. This is the most important item on the budget from my perspective, because we have some great staff members and they all have horrible vehicles. I mean, they can't afford to keep their vehicles running. I mean, I was picking a guy up for 10 days and, you know, be in his carpool to work because his truck was down. One of our technicians almost quit in September because he lost his transmission. And these are valuable people to us. You know, it's for on-site use only. Between these people, they can keep one car going to get to work, and that will be a huge relief for them, you know, if they can have a vehicle to get around the property and do their job. What I'm proposing is to purchase 3 vehicles. It's 0% financing right now. 4-wheel drive, stripped down, you know, Toyota Tacoma or F-150, not a 150. That's their small one. Anyway, small pickup trucks. Even $21,000 for 5 years is what the payments will be to buy the 3 trucks.
So have we looked into alternatives like gators and things like that, as opposed to getting full trucks? I'm not suggesting that we don't need a truck. I'm wondering whether we need 3 trucks and whether we could do, because those gators, if you know, you can get them where they're closed in,
Yeah.
where they're heated. You can use them for snow plowing and things like that, light work. Obviously, they can be used for landscaping and other needs as well.
Yeah, I
But
think
we're just
we
talking
have-
about getting around property, because I wouldn't approve this in any way, shape, or form for somebody leaving property with a Tamron logo on the side of it. That just sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen. But we looked into those?
I've not. We have 2 carts, and one of them is always going around. When they're hauling drywall and pipe and tools and things of that nature, I could talk to the guys and see if we could say, okay, will it work with 1 truck and maybe another heavier duty gator thing? Because the carts are not prone to carrying materials around.
Well, we can get a trailer behind a car too, if that's a concern. I would just, again, I'm not saying that we don't have a need for this. I'm just thinking we should look at the alternatives and see what do we really need. If we don't have a truck, if we don't have 3 trucks, we lose, you know, some of the benefits of having, you know, pickups. But to get around property year round, it doesn't necessarily have to be a truck. It could be another type of vehicle.
Yeah.
And you know, cost wise, those are.
Yeah, truck's 35 grand. You could probably pick up
You
a
pick
pickup.
those, I mean, you pick one of those for
15.
probably 12, 15, something like that.
Yeah.
So just, I think it warrants looking into.
Well, it warrants looking into, but we gotta get a budget approved by
Well,
tomorrow.
yeah, I guess I want to come back to your comment, Tim. You said this is the most important thing you've discussed so far today. It's $105,000. This is your number one priority. You would drop something else.
I would drop anything else in order to have our current staff able to do their job.
Guess I'm struggling. So they're gonna do this only on property, and that's gonna be an extra burden on you to manage that.
Uh-huh.
You'll have to make sure everyone is checked in every night. Is that what you're gonna do?
Those trucks are gonna be parked in our parking spots at the end of every day.
So if somebody says, well, I need to go to Home Depot at 4 o'clock, they're not gonna take the truck down there and keep it overnight and bring it back?
We are not insured for that kind of activity.
That's what we're
That's
worried
the
about.
rules.
The liability is
Yeah.
huge here.
Yes.
That's the concern. So, I mean, is that really what you've got time to
How
supervise
does
it?
Glacier do that? I mean, all our cleaning people come up here from Farmington. There's a carpool comes up from Farmington every day. They jump out of one vehicle, jump into 4 vans, and they go do their thing. And then at the end of the day, they go back to the carpool and they go home.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't have, as long as we're very clear that these things do not leave property.
Yeah.
We can, you can get a tracking mechanism and you'll know damn well if somebody leaves property.
Yeah.
If we really wanted to have that expense, but that needs to be the rule, period, if we move forward. It's not like there's not a need. I mean, everybody's been using their own cars. Obviously, Dave had his big truck that,
Yeah.
he was
Use
going
of,
around.
use of employees' private vehicles to get around the property to do their job. I would think we're probably the only outfit that does that.
I don't
Right.
disagree.
I mean,
Like I said, I don't disagree with the need. I just want to make sure that we
We
are
gotta
spending the
understand
money
the rules
appropriately and what we
Sure.
actually.
and what we really need. I'll look into different, Gator, how many times do we need trucks moving materials in different directions? It would be a coordination effort. Is it worth 35 grand? Yeah. To do it? Yes. So
Right,
maybe
but
we
if
get,
you-
maybe we get
if you're
one
just-
truck.
I mean, how often you move in drywall and that kind of thing? You have one truck that can handle getting the stuff up there, but everybody else driving around in a Gator.
Well, we're moving pipe and drywall around the line.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, we really are.
again, that's.
Well, yeah.
I'm not suggesting we move from the budget. I'm suggesting let's look at what is the best alternative, because we may not have to spend $105,000 over 5 years, whatever the number is.
Okay.
Well, yeah, because you've got landscaping too. I mean, you're gonna have, well, there's 3 landscapers apparently. So you're gonna have each of those 3 wanting to use the vehicle at the same time. Your maintenance guys are gonna do it. I mean,
Well, if we get 2 trucks and 1 Gator, I think that might meet the need. Maybe it's 1 truck and 1 Gator. I don't know. Maybe that's what we start with.
is the goal to eliminate all employee use of their private vehicles? All of it.
while on property.
No, 3 trucks will not do that.
That's
So
kind of
some employees are gonna have to use their private vehicles and some won't.
Or they're gonna have to get dropped off. I mean, when we're mowing grass up at High Point, Karen's gonna take Cass up there and drop him for the day. I guess, to move forward, why don't we
I
get
mean, what
1
I-
truck and 1 Gator, or talk with the guys and find out if that would suit their needs?
well, here's what I'm thinking. You got a staff. This guy gets to use a truck, goes around the property. This guy gets to use his own vehicle. Now he's grousing about having to buy his gas to do that and and wear and tear on his truck. Why don't I get to use the truck? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, and.
I think your
we're gonna
program
have to-
has to be all or nothing.
Well, I mean, I see 2 people in a vehicle frequently. And if somebody needs to go do a project somewhere, you load it up, you drop it off, and you go elsewhere.
I get that. I get all that. I'm thinking if you're gonna do this, I'm just saying it needs to be considered that you're gonna tell the employees, you drive here, you park your car, and you don't get in it again until you go home. Otherwise, you're gonna have infighting over why does he get to use the vehicle and I don't?
Because you're gonna have people wanting to leave their tools on it. Oh, I'll be using it again. You know, I need this for my wife, for my sheetrock or whatever. And, you know,
So whatever
So the
program you
longevity-
come up with, it needs
It's gonna be-
that needs to be the
Yeah, just-
consideration.
I just see it being a huge use of your time, and I'm not sure that's your best use of time.
How's it a huge use of his time?
He's gonna have to write all these rules, he's gonna have to administer them, he's gonna have to enforce them. I mean, you're gonna be standing there.
I don't think that's.
I'm not as much worried about that. I'm worried about the $105,000 over 5 years.
So where did the 105 come from? I mean,
There's-
I get 35 times 3, but can't we do a better deal than 35?
Well, we talked about this the other day, Tim and I and Elisa, we were talking about it. Elisa's husband frequently buys company vehicles and he's getting them for what, 31,000 for a stripped down truck?
Yeah, and they're not,
Two-wheel
yeah.
drive.
Two-wheel drive.
Yeah, like we gotta have 4-wheel drive.
We gotta have
This is a
4-wheel
good
drive.
deal.
And Kathy, how did we get to 105,000? It's the cost of 3 trucks financed at 0% financing,
Mm-hmm.
5 years. That's what that is. So it's,
Okay. I thought maybe we could do better than 105.
yeah, well, I thought so too. I mean, I guess the days of being able to buy a pickup truck for 20 grand are long gone.
Well,
Yeah.
unless you look at you. Which
Yeah.
is certainly-
Yeah, we could look at used, but then,
I mean, for 28 grand, they've got 70,000 miles.
I get it. And a 4-wheel drive doesn't get a whole lot cheaper. Four-wheel drive
Yeah.
has here value for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And I will say, obviously my previous business, we had all sorts of vehicles that we had to manage with our staff, and we did not run into issues with staff wanting to take things home. I mean, we had a very strict process, procedure in place, and, it wasn't hard to manage. Just my 2 cents.
So the question is, it sounds to me like we're going to continue to explore this and determine what kind and how many vehicles to buy. The question is, how much money do we want to have in the budget now and going forward for this?
That's what we do our reconciliation at the end of the day. Let's go ahead and,
You want to
I don't think we can.
table this
reconcile
one and
just
come back to it?
Well, if we had a vehicle for every person, how many vehicles would that be total? Four,
Here at
5?
one time.
4.
4?
And we only have all 4 people here 2 days a week. That's how I came up with 3 vehicles.
And in the summertime with landscaping, you've got the carts. We've got a couple of those carts, right?
Well, we've got 2 carts, and again, if somebody's gonna go mow High Point, they're gonna be up there for 4 or 5 hours. You're gonna drop off, get on your tractor and go. So, no, temporary seasonal workers do not get vehicles. Evening shifts do not get vehicles, just our key guys that are here
The evening
today.
shift may have to be going up and down to find.
They got a cart.
So you'd mentioned maybe just going with, 1 truck, 1 gator. I mean, would it make sense to maybe explore that first? I mean, we leave the number in the budget for now, but let's figure out what makes sense to solve for the need immediately.
Yeah, I think
And then maybe it's over a
that
2-year
would be a
plan.
good plan, is go with a gator and a truck now.
Okay.
And see how that works. As we get busy in the spring, we may have to adjust. We'll learn through these next few months.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay.
All right, so we'll go back to the.
Yeah.
This is,
Because otherwise, I was going to talk about roof and long-term plumbing. While he was here, he was leaving. But that's all.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
starting my multitasking now, so I'm gonna have to step out here in a little bit.
Yep.
you said Tim's done, but there's some things in
Oh, we
operations.
want to look at operations.
You want to look at operations and go through any highlights there before we lose Scott for a bit?
Yeah, I bumped, since Mark left a few weeks ago, we are doing plumbing with our staff. We are going to have to depend on contractors to pick up some of the plumbing that we are not capable of doing. So I put $50,000 added to our building maintenance code, which is the code that pays for plumbing contractors.
Now, this is an offset because you're not replacing Mark, correct?
Correct. We're not replacing Mark. We're not hiring a full-time plumber. We do not need a full-time plumber. The next line was, when we get requests from owners to do work, sometimes we hire for a portion of the work or all the work. We hire contractors or we go buy things. And in order to track it more accurately, Gary has asked, and I agree, that we have we create a code for outside services billed to owners. It's just a separation that used to be in 612. We pulled some money out so that we have a better tracking.
This used to be an item that was buried further down in this stack here, and it was called parts bill to owners, I think.
And
So
it was 644.
it was 644, yeah, in budgets prior to this year. But then Gary asked if we could put this back in for tracking purposes.
The net change from 2020 to 2021 was 0 plus 50. So that's where we came up with the number when you add those two lines, 612 and 613. Joe said we are going to have a light snow season, so we reduced our.
I didn't say we were going to have a light snow season. I said the word conventional wisdom is we're going to have a light snow season.
The next one is roof repairs. This references specifically in Pine Cone where we have some of the tar coming through. Last year we budgeted 25. We've spent 25,000 already, and I have 5 on the list now that I could do now. I don't want to go over the budget now, so I would ask that we increase the budget to 35,000 for next year. Let's see, grounds. We are going to engage Mike Griswold to assist in some, since we are self-performing, and that's kind of his line item is that 624 grounds.
Can I go back to your last line?
Uh-huh.
You said 5 waiting, which
Yes.
seems to me that this issue has really blossomed in the last 12 months. And I know that's putting you at a bit of a disadvantage because you don't remember 17 and 18, but it seems like there were just a couple. I'm just wondering,
Well,
is even 35,000 enough?
I
don't want to have 5 people
think
waiting again next year.
I think it's somewhat blossoming because people have seen something happen. I mean, I just had an example last week. It's like, oh yeah, you did that one. Mine's doing it too. So I think it's an awareness thing that may be kind of bringing more to the surface. I don't know if there are. I haven't been in every unit. I haven't been looking for it. I've been waiting for those items to come to me.
I don't know if we kept a formal list, but I know, for example, I experienced my first car like 2 years ago, and then I got nothing. And then this year I got like 6 or 7 places. So it just all of a sudden there was a gully washer, if you will. I don't know
how hit the surface.
how many people are saying, oh, I've got one. And then what we typically do is go and put the little diaper on, and that seems to stem the tide.
Do you see it on your floor or on your ceiling?
Oh,
Both.
Yeah.
well, it comes through the ceiling, it drips down.
Yeah.
If you're lucky, it hits a tile floor. If you're not, it hits carpet or furniture.
Yeah. Or your bed, bedding, or yes. Yeah. Yeah. And so I just wonder if there's any way to get it a little bit ahead of this. I would hate
Well,
to have
the
5
other
people
thing
waiting.
is we're getting better at it. The prices
Yeah, mine was
are
done a couple
lower
years ago.
today than they were a year ago.
I had like
Excellent.
3,
Okay. All right.
So
I
we're
had
going
like
to get a
3
bigger bang.
leaks one summer. Just all of a sudden they started happening.
Okay.
Window washing's done. The exterior maintenance program is going well. I don't know if you noticed that they're doing the exterior of the lodge right now. But we've been rotating around different parts, the weather beaten parts. You can't just say do High Point or do Pine Cone. You really have to select which ones are getting beat the most by the weather. And Bo and what's that other guy, painter's name? They've been doing a great job. We're going to continue that exterior maintenance because this wood takes a beating in this weather. we reduced the fire sprinkler and extinguisher thing from 34,000 to 20. It's because at some point, the fire marshal is gonna say, go do some destructive testing on your heads. And really what that means is a lot of those sprinkler heads are gonna have to be replaced. And it's a number we've been carrying, waiting for that interpretation to come. It hasn't come yet, but we need to have it ready in case we do have to do some destructive testing on our sprinkler system. Elevator, there's nothing really exciting down here. Oh, I did ask to increase the fog window replacement budget. We've had people that, you know, we try to prioritize. If they're okay, we say, no, we're not going to do it this year. You know, there are more people sitting on a list for too long, in my opinion. So I wanted to bump it a little bit. The windows aren't expensive, but there's a lot of them out there, and we've got a waiting list.
Talk about 652, Tim. We've got the new system in the CMMS system.
652. Oh, yeah, that number did go up from 6,500 to 12,600. You want to talk to that one, Lisa?
Well, you've got your fixed program in there.
Yeah, that's where the fixed program is.
That was 30.
And that's really why it's gone up.
That's why it's
plus the
gone up.
Digerati. I think the office supplies and everything else is we broke that down, and that still will be the same.
Digerati is our IT services contract. That's Norm Pope. What jumped it up is the purchase of the CMMS system that just came online.
Yeah, this year we paid $4,500 or something. The annual fee moving forward is $3,300 a year for 5 licenses.
So
it goes up 3% every year or something.
So we blew up the budget this year on that one, and then we have an annual fee. There's the split out right there in that note.
In the bottom, maintenance and insurance on vehicles, we put the fuel, oil change, and yep, these vehicles are only going to get like 3,000 or 4,000 miles a year put on them. So we're never going to run through a set of tires, but you do have to do maintenance and fuel. So that's what $8,000 and insurance. It's $1,500 a year for insurance.
Insurance that's for all of them?
Each.
1,500 for vehicles that are only going on the property. That sounds high.
What's that insurance girl? Jennifer. I sent a copy of a couple of the guys' driver's license and said, here's what we're doing. These people are going to come to this property. Yeah.
American Family charges too much for auto insurance.
Yeah, they're not. Well, then I've got a conservative budget.
Talk to State Farm.
I'll get another number.
Give Wendy Most downtown a call.
Just don't do your homeowner's insurance.
Yeah, homeowner.
Yeah.
American Family homeowners policy, good.
Okay.
Not good auto policy. They
I'll
charge
start
way
the
too
purchase
much.
process after
Yeah.
the budget's approved.
Okay.
Then that's all I had up top. We've separated out on the personnel expense. We separated out, me and Gary and Elisa put our salaries and burdens and benefits and all of that into the admin budget.
Yeah, you'll see when we start to go through this line by line, starting with the first page.
So this maintenance, landscaping, janitorial staff.
This is all hourly staff.
Yeah, we took Mark out of the budget, not replacing him. We did add some hours for janitorial. The 12 hours per week was not cutting it. I bumped it to 20. And there's an opening for someone if you know anybody looking for
You guys need
janitorial
a
work.
job.
The health insurance in the IRA includes the simple plan that starts on January 1. I think all of our eligible staff in maintenance accepted the invitation and they're doing their contributions and taking advantage of that program. So that's another huge tool in keeping a great staff. It really has a big impact.
So is that like 7 or 8 people total? that are in it?
Yeah, I don't have paperwork on everybody, but most of your guys, and I think half of my eligible
Yeah,
are doing
okay.
it.
all of my eligible tickets. Joe, you want to talk about utilities?
Well, I mean, we can now, I think you've covered all the things that I think Scott wanted to make sure he was here for. So why don't we now just get over onto the first page and start going through it. So this first group is our revenues. We had a really good, we had a COVID year. And because we had a COVID year, we didn't spend as much money on things as we had originally intended. So we have some surpluses to deal with. Elisa calculated this up, and based on year-end, projected year-end accounting, we're going to have surplus balances in operating and capital. You see the numbers there. I'll highlight them. Oops. And we actually backed $50,000 out of there because I always recalled that when we did this with Sandy Elliott, when she came up with these numbers, she always liked to have a $50,000 cushion working capital to start the year. And so we backed that out of that. So our surpluses are actually 50,000 higher than that, about 140,000 total you see there. It's more like 190,000. So we have a lot of extra money left over from this year because of all the things all the budgeted items that didn't get done. So we've got a nice starting point. Okay, so that
Which could be moved to reserves.
it could be.
Scott, for your benefit.
Well, no, I think yeah, one of the discussions we need to have is move it to reserves and sweep it right back out first of the year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Well, that's
just
just,
write that in on the budget that's published. Put the note.
Yeah. Just so that it shows when we have to give a budget, when we post it on the website, we won't have to do it again until next year. We'll just to go through that exercise so we get that financing issue solved. Yeah.
so this year we drew 191,000 out of reserves for the South Tower elevator project. That's done. We had originally conceived that we were going to do the carpet in the lodge, which now has been deleted. So I'm going to back this out of there. Okay. Assessment fees billed to owners. I always plug the same as last year in so that we can target, as we like to, no increase in dues. So right now that's sitting, that can be the last item that we move up or down based on everything else we want to do. Maintenance revenue. Tim, you got any comments on that? It looks like it's staying pretty close to where it was last year, a little bit of a deduction.
Yeah, I don't. I hope that we're able to increase that because there's some proactive things I'm going to encourage owners to do.
Yeah,
like,
this is revenue we receive when our maintenance department does work in an owner's unit. Yeah.
I think we'll get better at that.
So you might get, it might be more because of the sticky valve project, right?
Well, that plus our ability to track.
Yeah.
It's just what we do. It's either bill or not, and then you run the report at the end of the month, and you've captured everything. I think we'll get better at it, and with some proactive programs, we're going to get out there and do more work with our staff.
Yeah, if we're able to provide transparency to certain maintenance issues like a water heater, whatever the case may be, that needs to get done because it's been 10 years, I think you'll find people will act upon it. Yeah. So
we're developing this.
Like I'm getting a new hot water heater. Is the plumber get all the money? Who does? Ezra? what's the guy's name?
Everett.
Everett, yeah. So he doesn't work, he works for him, he doesn't work.
Yeah, he's one of our contractors.
Okay, but I just pay him.
You pay him, yep. And we don't care if somebody has a bad hot water heater, they can either have our staff do it, and it's about $1,500, or you can have Everett do it, it's about $1,800. It's,
For a hot water heater?
Is that what it is? Is that what's replacing the water heater costs these days?
I don't know, I didn't think so.
Holy crap, that's a lot.
That's a lot of money. Yeah.
Maybe
I mean, you can go down to, I mean, you can go down to Home Depot and buy a 40-gallon water heater for about $600-700, and it doesn't take much to install them.
we got a couple of guys. Good part of them.
Okay, so, but your sense is that even without Mark contributing to that outside revenue, we're still gonna do as well next year?
Yes.
Okay.
This 407 owner fines assessed, for some reason we put that in there. Oh, I think I know what reason it was. Unit 110. And so,
Delete.
so we're gonna drop that again. It's not worth tracking a couple of $100 a year. Owner storage unit rental. Tim, you want to talk about this?
Sure. We are currently charging $6 a square foot for climate controlled storage space. That is less than a third of market
Climate control?
rent. It's not freezing.
Okay, it's heated. It's heated. Okay.
Not freezing. That's the definition.
Rodent free.
I did a lot of research on this.
Well,
I mean, the thing is, we have to heat that area.
Yeah.
Because there's plumbing
There's
all over the
plumbing,
place in there. We have to
Well,
heat that area.
okay, but be careful. I mean, we've had a lot of water damage. Don't
Okay.
say this is pristine storage space. Please.
Well, it's the
'Cause I
same
can-
stuff you get in Hermosa for $21.50 a foot. And so over the last few months, we've talked about getting it somewhat up toward market, because there's only a limited number of units available and there's a waiting list. And, you know, so what we've put into the budget is bump it next year to $9.50 a square foot, and the following year to $12, was it? Yeah. And the income revenue change, the revenue changes from what's currently 17 grand to 30,000 in 2021, and it'll be 38,000 in 2022. Those are the same rents that I would propose we do on the second floor storage with the new units. And that revenue is not in here because we haven't only done the work yet.
When do you anticipate having that area done? Assuming the budget is approved.
Does that include the new?
Late
it'll
next
be
year?
late, it'll be late first quarter.
Oh, late first quarter.
Yes.
So you could start realizing revenue on that.
March, January, March. Yeah, March or April.
Well, then we should consider putting some revenue in there for that.
Well, we don't have the budget approved to do the work. It costs 16 grand to do it.
But if the budget is approved, if the board approves the budget tomorrow and it includes that, then we should come back up here and throw an estimated figure in there. So why don't you think
Yeah.
about what that ought to be?
That'd be about 4,000.
You know, some of those other storage units, I mean, they all have security and everything. Do we have security?
It's
Do we have
locked.
cameras?
It's locked.
It's locked.
I don't have security
No
cameras. But
Do you not think, I mean, because like at Hermosa, I'm pretty familiar with, you know, finance staff, they've got cameras everywhere in
Well,
there.
well, we're not charging anywhere near market on this.
Yeah.
Well, I'm aware of that, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if you, once you get to market, I just think some security cameras would be great.
But we don't plan to get to market.
I understand that,
Yeah.
Joe. I just said, when we get to it in a couple of years, I think we ought to be able to have similar, you know.
security.
I think you need cameras down there. I mean,
Well, we got Wi-Fi everywhere, so if we wanted to add cameras, it's
I
not
mean,
a
you can go get
huge
an Arlo
undertaking.
camera for $129 or
Yeah.
something, but you know,
I
there's
don't
a
think it's
lot
something
of.
we need to budget for, but certainly it's probably something we can look into, because again, we got Wi-Fi everywhere.
You know,
But the thing is, when you get a camera,
Have we had any problem
then
with
you're likely
security in
need to
there?
have
Have we had any
a
problem with
DVR
that?
type
I'm not
so
aware.
that you can record.
I mean,
Not
the
heard of
worst
one
thing that
instance.
happens the worst thing that happens down there is people take stuff out of their unit and put it in the middle and they leave. And then I've got to dispose of this stuff.
Yeah,
That's the worst thing that happens down there that I'm aware
I don't think we've had any theft issues or, people breaking into lockers or anything like that.
I'm just
Well, actually, if you put cameras in and we have a DVR attached to it, and it just repeats and records every 2 weeks, you'll be able to go back and say, that person's gonna get charged for leaving that shit in the middle of the storage area.
Well, there you go. There you go. Hey,
Hey, Joe, I forgot to put something on the list that you had asked me to look into. It was putting a
The
couple of
webcam.
cameras at each parking lot. That was $8,000, I think.
That seems right.
I think it was between $8,000 and $10,000 to install 2 cameras looking at the parking fields of each of 4 parking lots. There would be a couple of weeks of storage if there was something that occurred. We could pull that data and have a record.
Okay.
And I forgot to put that on my capital.
Yeah, my
project.
suggestion was just because we had these couple of break-ins, I mean, it's not a bad idea for us to stick some cameras around to cover the parking lot. In the event we do have something, right now, I'm sure when the cops come up here, they ask us that right away. Do you have any cameras? And right now we don't.
how much?
8,000.
All right.
Okay, back to this line. Is this just the storage facilities in the basement of this building?
Yeah.
Yes.
The ones that are.
Not the ones out in the various outlying areas, all the old maid's closets?
There's
Are we
only
not-
a few that are rented for the closets,
Okay,
but
well,
that's included.
And those are
They're
included in
included in
that
this
list.
line. Okay, that's what I was asking. Okay.
So do we need to change that to 34 or wait until? We could
We
lower it
probably-
back down if it doesn't get approved.
That, if you want to put an accurate number in for 2021, that should be 34,000, Joe.
I'm just gonna highlight it
If
so
we're
we
going to do
remember what we did
second
here.
floor pages.
Okay,
So I'm sorry, what is the base level? We're going from what, $6 to?
we're going from 6 to 950 on January 1st. And then in 2020, we'll increase it to around $12 and cap it there. So we'll be basically half of market.
I think we need to increase it.
Yeah.
I think to the extent it causes some people to go through their crap and say, I don't need all that space, I don't need to do it anymore, that is a benefit.
And there's a
May free
waiting,
up some spaces, and
if somebody decides they're paying,
and there's got people on the way.
if there's somebody decides they're done paying for it and they don't want to pay for it anymore, somebody else is gonna want it.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I mean, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
As I've told y'all, I would really like to get front desk operations neutral, where it's covered with this kind of more of this ancillary stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but this, are you gonna put that revenue in the front desk revenue so you can show it balancing? I mean,
No, you get my point. Anything
I get
we
your
can do to
point.
increase revenue is gonna
Yeah.
help with that.
Yeah.
Joe, can you put your forms online?
What's that?
Can you put your forms on the main screen?
They're on there.
I see you're always basically in.
I don't even have my camera turned on. I'm sharing my screen, so everybody should be able to see the budget. You seeing it there?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's there. Sale of DVRs to owners, I don't think we keep tracking this. It's so small. Would we sell two of them this year?
Something like that.
Yeah.
The question I do have, by the way, is we've installed DVRs and we're going to charge for DVRs, $125, but we've installed receivers everywhere. There are owners who are coming in who want an additional receiver now. Are we charging for those or not?
Well, our
Because they cost
contract
us $125 a piece.
for the small receiver?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. Our contract with Groove is for up to 500 and change
Yeah, it
TVs.
was 520 or 500.
So they should have supplied us with 500 and something receivers.
I don't know how many they supplied us with initially.
Yeah.
But
I think they just supplied us with as many TVs as they found in the units when they installed the systems.
okay, then we got to talk to Group because they're charging us for receivers now.
It shouldn't be. I mean,
Well, depends on whether we've gone through the 525 number. or not.
no, we haven't even come close.
I don't think we
Do we have any record of
Well-
that? I don't think we do. I think that was Gary's point. We don't know.
Well, I think that's a
Yeah.
question that needs to be asked.
Yeah,
And that wouldn't be here. That would be I mean, we shouldn't be, nobody paid for a receiver when we initially
Right.
put the system in.
and we may have come close to the 500 because there's about 420 numbered units when you take into account the AS units up in
Yeah,
High Point.
yeah, it
So
may
it's
be.
420, and then think of the B and C units, you've got 3. We may have come close to that.
Okay, so maybe we
see.
come. Well, here's the other thing that happens in that case. If we go over that number and Groove detects it, then they're probably going to come to us and say, we want to increase your subscription cost. So it's a slippery slope.
But are they charging, they're charging us by
We're
a total number of televisions, not a total number of,
we're
users.
charged for, right, we're charged for a fixed monthly amount for up to, for all the services that we buy, up to 500 and, I forget what the number is. I think it's 500, it's 5 something. But if they sense that we have more than that, they would be justified in asking us for more money, I would think.
so do we want to cap the total number?
Probably
I think
should.
you have to have the discussion. I mean,
Yeah.
you got 20 left.
No, that's DVRs.
Oh, you talk about
That replaces a DVR or the total of DVRs and small receivers.
right, it's 5 1/4.
Is 5 1/4.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but what Gary's talking about is somebody who, say I go to Gary, I've got 2 TVs, I want to put another one in, I need another box. A small one.
Well, I think before we can commit to it, we have to understand what our relation, I mean, what's Groove's position on that? And we have to be able to track where we're at, because if one person causes every owner to have an increase,
And that's what it would be,
then we're gonna have to start saying no to those.
because we don't charge individual units, owners, households,
Yeah.
based on the number of TVs they have,
No, I get it.
which is consistent with how it's done with satellite and
Yeah.
you just, if you're,
So I thought the question on the table though, was are we still gonna charge $125 for these, right?
oh, for the DVRs we
We
are,
are,
yeah,
okay.
because we already have
the other
them.
one.
We still have what, 18 or 20 of them around?
I think it's 11.
Oh, is it down to 11? Yeah. So when those run out, then the price goes up to what, 275?
No, about 200.
200?
Well, as of when we signed the contract, they were around 200 at the time.
Whatever the going rate is, so with Groove, if we
I don't
say,
know what they're going to be.
sell us a DVR, they'll tell us what it is.
But at some point, we do have to decide, are we going to charge $125 for a new receiver box also?
If we have
An
to pay for it.
additional, yeah.
If we have to pay for
We
it.
have to pay for
Well,
them.
we
I think
just
we have to
ordered
pass that
5
cost.
of them, and they're charging us 125 each.
Well, then you gotta charge the owner for them. Yeah.
We just put it in 404 instead of tracking it separately. Is that what you're saying? Take that line out.
Yeah, I guess it would go there, yeah. Okay, commercial space rental. This is just what we get from the hairdresser, and Sotheby's is now supposed to be paying $300 a
Did
quarter.
they pay their rent?
They did pay the 300?
Yep.
Oh, all right, good.
Happily.
Happily.
Not bad. It's a bargain.
Hitting a steal.
Mhm.
They know it.
Talk about, I wonder how that compares to
Yeah,
To,
does that market?
commercial office space.
Yeah, well, it wasn't intended to be a Sotheby's place. It was intended to be a Julie Houston
$34
place.
a month for that space.
But I did cut it to 2 years or 3 years, so we'll have an opportunity to go back and raise it.
Yeah, we did have last year, the reason the number is so much lower is last year we did have the Unit 110 rent in here. And our accountant scolded us for that because he said, you're collecting this rent in 2 places, because we were collecting it here and then we were also putting it in reserve. So now when we do the reserves, you'll see it's only on the reserve sheet because we're just putting that money directly in the reserves. Maybe not immediately directly,
Right.
but it goes right to reserves.
Yeah.
Service and collection fees. That's the total for the year is going to be low on that because we waived all interest and fees April, May, and June because of COVID. Transfer fees. A lot of this is $300 on each property transfer. We cut that down because for sale inventory is so low, so we expect the number of property transfers next year to be significantly less than we've experienced in the last several years, which has been about more than 10% of the property turns every year. But right now there's only 3 active units on the market, 3 units on the market on MLS right now. 2 sales pending. Laundry machine revenue. I guess everybody noticed we all got the new laundry machines in, right?
I haven't had any complaints.
Yeah,
And the dryer that stack works now too.
they're right. And then the vending machine revenue, of course, this is the soda machines. Is there anything else besides the soda machines? Is that it?
Yeah, that's just Coke.
Just the Coke?
Just Coke?
We don't get any income from the potato chip machine.
Oh, there's a snack machine too. We don't get income
That's a
from that.
separate company.
Hey, did you account anywhere in here for what we were doing with the product that Ann is, the logoed product?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Not in terms of revenue, but I mean, do we have where did we put that?
I didn't give her necessarily a budget. I
Just
said, let's
down
test
below.
this out.
Yeah, it's
And
in marketing.
what we did is we marked everything up 40% over cost
Yeah.
for resale.
Oh, okay.
Typical retail.
If you
So
look,
we will have a profit center out of it. It's an experiment, admittedly.
well, if you want to put some revenue in there, if you look, I just scrolled down. If you look at the bottom under administrative expenses, 576, that's we transferred that from front desk over to here because we're not doing any marketing in front desk anymore. Well, we are doing one little thing, but we'll talk about it. So this is basically, this is all Ann's stuff.
Right.
This is what we pay her for social media presence and her newsletter and the newsletters and any logo items that she purchases for resale.
Okay.
But we do not know, the answer to your question is no, we do not have a revenue item up here for sale of logoed items.
We can just see.
I don't know what, do you want to
We
just
don't
wait and see
necessarily
what,
need to.
want to see what that looks like?
Yeah.
And-
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, we could put,
if we put a
I
$5,000
thought about this, and maybe that's another reason to do it, but I thought about putting another line on this one and just call it miscellaneous revenue. And that's where we can collect that, fines, and sale of DVRs. Yeah.
Well, the idea was to get some simple items, have them on display, sell them in the store that the restaurant's going to put in, and also have them available just for order directly, where we don't keep any stock. Somebody can just order a logoed product directly. So if we bought $5,000 worth of that stuff, then we'd make 40% of that in revenue. So that was my thought, was let's play with it and see if we can get another revenue source. We are going to have a general store. We're going to have a place to hang them. We put in the contract that any proceeds from any logoed items sold in the general store accrue to the benefit of Taco. And, you know, I certainly think, you know, people come up here in the winter, they don't have appropriate clothes, they want a hoodie, they want a vest, something like that. I mean,
Oh, yeah, you'll sell a lot of that
Yeah.
stuff. People come up here in the winter,
Right.
they want something warmer to wear, a sweatshirt or something like that. You'll sell those day and night.
Yeah, that was my whole thought on it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so I added miscellaneous revenue and I just threw $1,500 in there. So we'll see how that goes. That'll be an experiment this year and figure it out.
1,500.
Yes.
Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah, the fives look maybe like an 8.
Yeah, it's 1,500.
Thank you.
Okay, admin expenses, insurance. Our Jennifer Wade is really doing a good job for us. She went out and reworked our market, shopped our policies. And while we're still keeping our business owners policy with American Family, we're getting through American Family, we're getting our umbrella policy from a third party. She assures me, I questioned her heavily on this, that it's, you know, we're not losing any security. We're not, you know, it's as good a policy. I think it's underwritten by Travelers and one of the other household name insurance companies. But our total policy package is a 6.1% decrease from 2020. Our new business owners policy through American Family now includes directors and officers insurance and crime, and the umbrella policy, the new umbrella policy we have, extends our directors and officers limits. So under our business owners policy, we had $1 million of coverage for screw-ups. Now we have 16 million because the 15 million in the umbrella policy covers that as well, extends to that. So we're getting better and more insurance for quite a bit less money. Our budget last year was 107, and now we're down to 96,000. So some good savings there. Like I said, Jennifer Wade worked pretty hard on this. She and I went back and forth on it quite a bit. Accounting, as you all know, we modified our relationship with Tommy Meadows, CPA. Elisa doesn't work for him anymore. She works for us now. So all our bookkeeping is being done in-house rather than through Tommy's office. So we've worked out a plan with Tommy for some quarterly reviews, doing our taxes. What else? Pretty much it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
assistance with the audit.
Oh, yeah, and assisting with the audit, attending the annual meeting, you know, stuff like that. So we reduced that from 61,200 down to 5,000. I don't even think we'll spend 5,000. Probably not, but we'll just leave it like that. Of course, the bulk of that money is now in salaries that you'll see in a few minutes here, because now we took on Elisa's salary, so there was an offset there. Assessment fees uncollectible. We've always carried $10,000 for write-offs. I don't think we're going to have any write-offs this year. I think we're in pretty good shape on that. Legal fees, we spent a lot less money, or will spend a lot less money this year than we had budgeted. I think the major item that we've had going on this year is the water and sewer negotiations. Ken Golden's been deeply involved in that. So I reduced our legal fees projection for next year down to 25,000.
By the way, did you respond to him? He asked if we needed him in executive session. I never responded to it. I didn't see it till this morning. I don't think we need him, but I didn't respond to him either.
I
Okay.
didn't. I mean, if you want, while we take a break, I can email him back.
I can email him now.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead? Because If I put my email up here, then everybody's
No,
gonna
no,
see
you're
it.
good. I'll do it. I meant to do it this morning. I just got sidetracked working on it.
No, I didn't respond to him, but he sent it out to you and I and Greg, well, to the water and sewer
Yeah.
committee. Yeah. Director's expense, we spent less because we had more folks attending virtually than we normally do because of the COVID situation. We think maybe that might continue some, so we will reduce the budget a little bit there. See how that flies. Auditing and consulting fees significantly reduced. This is reflective of my consulting fee going way down, starting in January. Supplies, printing. Well, this was charges that miscellaneous charges by Elliott Meadows, which we won't have anymore. So we'll delete this account for 2021. Annual meeting. We all know what happened there. We didn't spend any money on that. The total of that is just the printing and copying and mailing of the annual meeting packages and the ballot counting and so forth. So we put that back at its normal amount for next year. Web services, this goes up a bit. Oh, I've got a note here, so that tells me that.
Go to meeting.
Oh, it includes Ventium, which is, Elisa, tell us what Ventium is.
That is our new software for owner communications, paying online. It's got all kinds of great, I'm really excited about it. Hoping to have it.
My new toy.
You can view your account.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm gonna replace the website.
No. It could, but our website's it's a little more sophisticated. It can hold documents.
Did you hear that, Gary? Your website's a little more sophisticated.
I'm hoping if it all goes smoothly, I'm doing a webinar on the payment side when I get back at the end of November. So I'm thinking I can send out invitations for everybody to join in December, and people can start paying their first quarter dues.
So what's the facility for paying? Is it go through?
It goes through them. They collect all the extra fees. If someone wants to pay by credit card or ACH, there's different fees for each. They can pick which one they want.
But people can still pay through their own.
They can pay by a check.
Or bank, or through their bank.
Yeah.
Or using online bill pay through your own bank.
Correct.
Still do that, right?
So just those folks who want to just click the button, and we can add a button on our current website for paying. They don't have to go through the new software. There'll be an app on your phone you can do all kinds of things.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
And then of course the rest, all of our other web services, GoToMeeting. Do we have Zoom in here?
No, so Zoom is on this new app, and it's.
Oh, that's right. We
it's
get
a
Zoom
little-
for free
it's a
through
little
that
better
app.
because
Yeah.
you can actually have 300 participants.
Yeah.
And
Did you
you're
hear
not-
that, Gary? Or do you already
Yeah.
know that?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah.
We currently have 100.
100.
Question I have for the board is, do we want to continue with a SurveyMonkey?
We have a survey option on this software.
Oh, it's got a survey option
Yeah,
too?
yeah.
Well, then let's dump the SurveyMonkey. That's $300 a year. We can dump it.
Probably the GoToMeeting for now, we can wait a while. They don't have a way to have private meetings. When Joe and I wanted to meet with Heather, it would have to go on this Ventium website, and anybody could join, although we wouldn't let them join, but they're working on a private meeting function where you.
So maybe we want to keep GoToMeeting for that?
Yeah, for your
Which
executive session.
which costs, what's
GoToMeeting.
GoToMeeting's $49 a month. What does Zoom cost?
It was 149 for the year, I think.
So why don't we dump the GoToMeeting and just keep the other Zoom accounts so that we can have private meetings? if
That
we
was going to
want?
be my question, if we
And
want
it's
to dump GoToMeeting.
paid through the end.
Yeah, we're already paid through April.
Yeah,
And we're not going to get a refund if we dump it now.
Yeah.
But the thing that we want to find out also, Elisa, is through Vintium, the Zoom feature there, can you have 2 Zoom meetings going on concurrently? Right now we can't, which is why when we have a board meeting, we're doing it on Zoom. When you guys go into executive session, it's on GoToMeeting.
But if we had a separate Zoom account, we could still do it, right?
Yeah, and then the question is, do we want to have the 2 Zoom accounts?
I like Zoom better than GoToMeeting. I mean,
But
I'll
if that Zoom account does allow for 2 simultaneous meetings, then we can drop GoToMeeting, we can drop the separate Zoom account that we
Right.
have right now and just use Vintium.
Do we only have the one Zoom account?
Well, we have a Zoom account, a standalone Zoom account, and then through Vintium, they have Zoom also. So we're going to wind up having 2 different Zooms.
Gotcha.
But if the Vintium can support multiple meetings, on that
Simultaneous
account,
meetings, yeah, then there's no reason to.
then there's no reason to have any of the other stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Although it's for $149, it's not a bad insurance policy, just in case you have a Vintium
No, it's not.
issue.
Yeah, my gut says just leave it in the budget.
Yeah, I would
Until we
too.
figure out how.
Oh, I'm not gonna change the budget.
Yeah,
We got,
yeah.
there's too many
Drop it,
questions.
we'll drop it.
Yeah.
We'll
I
know
mean-
by April.
It's not enough money to
Yeah.
worry about.
I mean, we're gonna drop GoToMeeting at some point, right?
Yeah.
You would think,
That expiration date, I would assume.
when it
April.
when it
Yeah,
expires.
It expires in April.
Yeah, because that's 49, that's $600 a
Jerry's
year.
note say? I can only saw part of it.
What's what?
Jerry just sent a note.
But the second Zoom would be used only for executive sessions. You might be able to get by with the free service, although sessions are limited to 40 minutes max.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem with the free Zoom is that you can only do one-on-one. Now, you could do one computer in a room with a bunch of people, I suppose.
I think you can do more than one.
No, you can do more than that. I think you actually, I can't remember the number of participants, but it's pretty much, Gary, do we have a rep that we work with?
No,
I thought the Zoom free was only, you could do one person here and one person there, and they could talk Zoom, but if you added a third one, you had to have this paid subscription.
no.
No?
When I first tried out Zoom, I set up a couple of different computers and all of them could log on. And I think, don't hold me to this, but I seem to remember you could have 49 participants.
Wow.
We do family Zooms
Do you?
and they're free.
And they're
We
free?
have to- We have to stop after.
But yeah, there is a
It
40.
was John Niebling that told me that, and he said that's why his daughter got a subscription. Yeah, okay. Payroll processing, I guess there's a slight increase from last year. This is the payroll department. They do all our employee payroll, pay the taxes. Property taxes, a little bit change there. Front desk funding, this ports over from the front desk rental program budget. That's significantly less than last year because we've cut some costs out of the rental program budget. We'll show you that in a little bit. And also we're expecting, hopefully, these increased revenues we saw this year will continue. So, and then I just added this marketing and, or not, I'm sorry, I didn't just add it. Then the marketing promotions line that we talked about before.
Should we rename account 560? Front desk funding?
What else do you want to call it?
I don't know.
That's what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, but it's also a pain in the ass when I'm talking to Fannie Mae.
Well, what do you want to call it?
Let us think about it, yeah. We'll come back to it.
It comes up every time a lender reviews it.
Uh-huh.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's just a red flag that you're a hotel. That's all.
You can call it concierge service or something.
Well,
I
Yeah,
think
okay.
That might be a red flag too.
okay, I got it. We can call it whatever you want. I mean, it's,
Why don't we just call it tenant and owner's relations desk?
think about it and we'll
Yeah.
decide, we'll decide tomorrow.
Okay.
Yep. Maybe before then, but yeah.
Okay, so here's where we added this last grouping, personnel expenses. This is our salaried employees, Gary, Tim, and Elisa, and their health insurance and IRA, payroll tax, and workers' comp. So that basically just got factored out of the operations page and put in over here so we can show it separately. Okay, going back to the operations, Tim covered most of this.
Like that.
We covered personnel expenses, utilities. So water and sewer, I prefer not to get into details on this except in executive session because this is a
That's fine. I agree. No,
ongoing negotiation.
Yeah.
But my latest estimate tells me that based on our water usage that our budget should be at that point you see there or perhaps a little bit less.
Okay.
So. Satellite TV, this is our monthly fee of $10,057.12 plus $595 a year for the NFL Sunday ticket. And so that is same as it was last year. They haven't hit us with an increase yet. Although the contract does provide for a cap of a 2% annual increase, but we haven't had one yet. So we could bump that 2% just for safety's sake, but I don't see any reason to right now. Electricity, just covering ourselves for any possible increase by La Plata Electric. We're pretty stabilized now on electricity. We've got all of the, over the last few years, we've gotten all of the separation covered between us and Glacier at the south end of the building. Internet and telephone service with Cedar/Ting. Are they called Ting now or
Ting.
So it's Ting. It's not Cedar anymore. No.
I talked with Marlene this morning, and she said, "This is Marlene from Cedar Networks." No, I'm from Ting.
Does VJ still work there?
No,
Not that I know.
no, he's gone.
But Steve Fink, is he still there?
Jeff Fink.
Jeff Fink,
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay. And we're not seeing any. Are we paying? Are we writing our checks to Ting now? I didn't even look at that.
No.
It's still Cedar,
Yeah, I think the bill came from
and the
Cedar.
bill key still comes from Cedar
Yeah.
Networks, doesn't it?
But the logo on the
Unless
door
they
downtown
just-
says Ting. I mean,
Does
they're, yeah, when you talk to them, they're bifurcated, I guess, but I won't say they're bipolar, but but they're moving towards Ting. There's no question. Yeah.
They've got a DBA for Cedar. That must just be a convenience. So they can use some letter to use up their envelopes.
So our monthly fee on that for telephone and internet is $18,998.95, and is the number. Refuse service. Is that Tim? Is that current with Waste Management?
Yeah, we added another recycle dumpster, and that's the adjusted number for 2021.
Okay. All right. So capital projects. Let's go through some of the stuff that Tim didn't hit on when we went through this the first time. So bat mitigation and control. We spent $32.5 this year. We figure this is something we're going to have to keep on top of. So we put $20K in for next year.
Kathy and Ron, we switched to page 3.
Okay, thank you.
Are they doing it on paper? Is that right? Or
Because they can't see them.
why can't they see it?
We haven't got time.
We can see it, or I can see it. But, you know, I could be the one that wants it on screen and on paper too, so
But you can see it on the screen.
absolutely I can.
So for some reason Ron can't. That was the question.
I got it now.
Oh, you got it now. All right,
Okay.
good. 806, finishing up pine cone front railing paint. We did that, and we're done with that for now. Sinkhole repairs in High Point. I think Dave just finished that yesterday, didn't he?
Today.
Today? No.
Well, you poured it yesterday, that's right.
Yeah, he didn't finish it today. He's on his way to Moab.
Yeah, I've got to take.
You got to take the blankets off.
Well, those will stay there for a few days.
Oh, okay. So this line goes bye-bye for 2021. Rear deck railing paint in Gamble Oak, we completed that, and we'll rotate this project to pine cone for next year. Gamble Oak irrigation PRV, we got it done. This line item goes away.
Wait, you said in 2022, so that line really does go away. The rear deck paint.
Well, it's 21 and 22.
Okay, so
for pine
21,
cone.
21 is still Gamble?
No, we finished Gamble Oak,
Okay.
the second half, and we'll rotate. Oh, that should say 22.
That should say 21.
That should say 21.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Okay, yep.
Sorry about that. Typo.
Yep.
All right. Gamble Oak irrigation. I already did that. Underbuilding and storage cleanup. We did quite a bit of that, as you can see. Why is that 9,800? How did that get there?
I don't know.
12.
Yeah, you got two different columns added there. The formula's wrong.
Yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah, your red cell's got to go way up.
There it is. Sorry about that. Okay. So Tim wants to continue this project this year, next year, and so we kept some money in there. I guess this extends now. It's not under building. It's cleaning up. It's cleaning up a bunch of stuff up on the second floor up in here.
And here in our Northwood shop, we do a lot of cleanup too.
Yeah. Okay. High Point parking lot reseal. And there's your answer. It was almost 16,000 this year. And again, we're dropping this line item now in favor of the parking lot repairs line that's added down below. Lodge landscape irrigation, completed that. South elevator upgrade, completing that, and the cab remodel as we speak. How's that going, by the way? Is it
They're off this week, but they still say they're going to be done third week of November.
they got that part problem
Yeah,
resolved?
that plate came about 2 weeks ago.
Okay. All right. Lodge lighting improvements. That's done.
The elevator.
Yep. High Point pump issue, that's been done.
Well, will be.
It's still we're still working on that?
Yeah, we haven't paid for anything yet.
Oh, okay, all right. That's right, that's projected for this and next month, this month and next month. Okay.
Got a lot of money to spend in 2 months. $90,000 there. Yeah.
Lodge back deck furniture, that project is done. We did repairs rather than replace, and so save some money there. Lodge 4th and 5th floor water valves. Is that part of the? Which valves? What are those main valves? Or
Those are main valves.
those are the main valves.
Those were
The big 6-inch ones.
huge.
That's
Well,
when we
it's
shut the water down to the
For the whole
whole building.
building?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool project.
So we haven't paid the bill, but they've.
It's been done, but it's not paid yet.
You got another formula problem there. 3 + 6 is not 6.
Yeah, your total estimated 2020 should be. No, 6 is the amount that we're going to spend. 3 is the budget.
Yeah, you.
Okay, oh, so you spent
So
none of it, okay.
No.
We went over budget on that piece of work. The total is going to be around $6,000, and that'll be the total spent for that line item.
Okay,
Yeah, so put 6,000 back.
Thank-
in.
Okay.
got it, sorry.
Yeah. So don't do that to me. How much was it? 6?
6.
That could be in your pile of bills I just paid, Joe.
Oh, in here?
On November date.
Okay. Replacing the RPZs in High Point didn't get done, so we'll do it in 2021. Central tower doors, this was replacing the doors out here with the wood doors with storefront doors. We decided not to do that and just keep the doors we have and keep them stained and refreshed. And, yeah, maintained. Signage, Tim talked about that. Unplanned capital expenses, he talked about that. Lodge heater upgrades. This is just an ongoing thing. How close are we to being almost done with that? We've been carrying that for years.
Something breaks every year.
Yeah, okay. Is it, and that is, so is this?
I don't know if that should be in the capital list.
I'm wondering if that shouldn't be in maintenance. Yeah.
So it's not
Frankly,
upgrades, it's lodge heater
I think
repair.
you could just delete that and not make any other adjustment, because those all get thrown into that 612.
Is that right? Okay, so we're going to delete this now.
I'd get rid of that line.
All right.
Well, we gotta just delete it for, put zero. In.
Yeah, for budgeting. Yeah. Improved North Area Lodge. Tim talked about that. Contribution to reserves. This is another one of those items that we'll plug in at the last second tomorrow. And then Tim went through all the new projects for 2021. So if this stands as it is, we're looking at a considerable reduction in capital projects for next year over this year.
Well, but you got a blank for reserves.
Yeah, right. You're right. Yeah.
It's still, it's still
Yeah.
60,000.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Permanent reserves. Let me blow this up. Okay, so we're estimated to have a balance of, is this right, Elisa? Look at that.
That's about, that was my guess. Which one? 900,000 for ending balance.
Ending balance in reserves. Does that sound right? I like it.
Oh, what? Yeah, that's it. I mean, that 784 is what we've got in there.
Yep. So interest.
Let's see, yeah.
So interest is lowering. You know, a couple of years ago when we started our program of laddered CDs, interest rates were for 2-year CDs were in the 2.5% to 3% range. We all know what's going on with that. 2-year CDs now are down in the 1.25% range, and so we're projecting lower interest for next year. Did you get an update on what we can expect from First Internet? Did you get to that?
Neither of us did. Sorry, it's a long day.
Okay.
By the end of the day,
yeah.
Maybe you can get to that today. Okay.
Can't be much.
All right, so we'll keep that highlighted. 2020 contribution from transfer from capital. This is just, we do this on a monthly basis rather than all at once. So this number and this number match, obviously. And this would come from that blank on the capital project sheet for next year, depending on how much money we want to put into reserves.
You know, you don't have on here is the 191 that went to capital.
Yeah, that's where 191.
It wouldn't be revenue, it would be expense coming out of here. For
Oh.
2020, that's why that number is so high.
Ah, that's it. Okay, right. All right.
Wonder if we should put
Well, it should be,
114.
Oh,
That was 191, right?
yeah.
But that's a deduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Negative.
but you've got a double count there. Look at line 7.
No,
John.
let me do one thing at a time, Mary.
Okay. Oh,
That's the beginning balance from last year. That's the slush or whatever that magic number came from last year. The magic number.
So in theory, we would have gone down by the amount of the elevator project from 700. So we would have been below 600,000 in reserves.
In reserves, as of the end of October, we had 590,000. So I added in we got some more contribution to reserves, a little bit of interest, and the income from 110. I got to 614,000. That's where I got the number on the top. 615 on 2021.
Okay. Now it's right.
Well, help me with line 7. Your budget, your starting number was 700,000. So how did
That was our beginning balance.
so
Yeah.
how did the estimated total get to 784? What happened between January 1st and
That's the calculation on 784,542.
yeah?
Can you help me out with that, Elisa?
Well, that came from Tommy last year. I wasn't a part of that. I don't know.
Not sure.
Well, because what I think's happening, Joe, is that
where's that?
line 9 is in line 7. I think he's added the contribution, although it doesn't quite math. The math doesn't quite work. It's off by about $3,000.
Your beginning balance on column C should be the same on column F, beginning balance. It should be 700.
Agree with that.
So it should be the 700.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Does that look right now?
That looks right. And then we're closer there to our 615 at the top of 2021.
Yes. Okay. All right.
Maybe we need to lower this 615 to 613.
And we're not taking anything out of reserves in 2021, right? Because we deleted the carpet project.
Right.
So no reduction of reserves then. So it's just a matter of filling in this number and we'll have a budget for reserves, ending reserves for next year. You still have a screwed up look on your face, Eric. What's wrong?
Well, no, it's a different thought. And you finish what you're doing. When I look at this, I say that 114 is really our capital reserves. We're not in the business of owning and renting real estate. There ought to be a plug number in there as part of our reserves because we intend to sell that unit and put that money into our reserves. There ought to be at least a memo item here that says we own a unit that we intend to sell and we're going to realize $75,000 for it.
So you just put in like an estimated value on that?
Yeah. To me, that's reserves in the making. It's not reserves yet, but it's, yeah. Now, you can't do that on a financial statement, but in our budget, we can do that.
Well, how's that different from any other hard asset we have?
It's for sale. It will be for sale.
It's not
But it's not for
yet.
sale until it's for
It's not
sale.
it's not for sale until it's for sale.
Well, I would look at it just like a bond on a bank's balance sheet. You know, it's either you're going to hold it forever, or you're going to it's going to be for sale.
Do we have plan? We don't have any plans to sell it, right? Yet. It's on a year lease right now
That's the
until.
return you're making on your money.
Yeah, I mean,
As far as I'm concerned,
we're making a return on it.
We're making a better return
We
on
gotta
that than
figure out how
anything
to-
else we have.
Kind of, we got to go through the vote and all that crap to do
Right.
it.
But when your friends in the mortgage business, they want to see how much we have in reserves, how much we have available to pay against future expenses.
But that money's
So
not
it's-
available.
It's not.
You'd
oh,
have to
sure.
sell it for it to
Don't
be
we have the
available.
value of it on
Yeah,
our balance
And that takes, that's a process.
But it's-
This is cash reserves.
Melissa, you're right. I
We
mean,
we have the balance of, it's on our balance sheet.
It's on the balance sheet.
Right.
110 is on the balance sheet.
Yeah, we've got,
It-
units A through N, 110/115, it's $938,000 of our fixed assets.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where it shows up as an asset.
Right. It does, but it shows up an asset as if, just like our land, like we're gonna keep it forever.
Not necessarily. Fixed assets could be sold, could be liquidated,
Well,
could be depreciated.
and don't we intend as a board to sell this unit?
I don't know.
Well,
Do we?
that's the discussion I think we should have, because I don't think
What's the
we're.
lease up?
I think if we asked Tommy Meadows this, our CPA,
Well, this is a budget.
he would say, this is your available cash reserves. You don't want to put a hard asset on there
No, I agree with you. I mean, the asset lives on elsewhere.
on the balance sheet. Yeah.
You're gonna continue to be dinged by lenders, potential lenders.
Well, keep it, I mean, we
Well, we don't
haven't had a lot of concern about the level.
No, we don't get
It's been
dinged
the
about our,
contribution.
it's the contribution that we get dinged on. Yeah.
What we need to do is put 10% contribution. We need to clear out the, basically $200,000 that we have sitting in those two accounts, move it to reserves. That'll turn into 829.
Okay,
And we'll turn around and bring it back.
so, okay, so that would satisfy.
Yeah.
The discussion.
They want
you're having.
10% of your budget. So it's 2.1 is our budget. We got to get to 210,000 in there.
Well, you've covered that by making the case that
Yeah, but it's
all of this stuff, that this
it's a big
325.
bullshit exercise.
Well, I know it's bullshit, but that's how you've gotten around it.
And it takes a lot of time, like,
Yeah, I
explaining to every single
Right.
lender.
yeah, I'd rather not have to get in the middle of that discussion every time somebody decides to refinance or buy something.
It's really gonna be nice if it shows a number on there that is 10%.
So how are you planning to do that?
Board motion to move the
That's what
excess
we're just saying.
cash flow to reserves.
It's just moving the capital accounts and all the, the cash out of the accounts, moving it into reserves and then moving it back over after the first of the year.
Or some part of it.
Some part
How
of it.
much you need, yeah.
Move it as you need it. whatever.
So are you saying put those beginning balances for operating and capital on this page? Is that what you're saying? Because then you're going to blow the budget up on the other side.
Okay.
All right, I got to step out, guys, because I got to present here in a minute. So
Okay. How long are you going to be out? Do we want to take a break and wait for you?
I would say keep going. We're going to go through this whole damn thing again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Enthusiasm.
Scott, Jim and Lisa kind of like that title.
Should unit 114 be added to that, underneath
I think we just
110?
make that a bonus money.
Make a note. Do you see this, Elisa?
No,
What's it say?
You're getting a chat there somehow.
You see that?
That was
The
Kathy.
the
She said
service
she's out
report.
for a few minutes.
Yeah, I
Change
like
front desk funding
like
to
that.
service and
And
security desk.
we can even do the
But
title of the financial
You need
statements.
to do
there.
that on the financial
Yeah.
statements.
Yeah, I will.
And do it now.
I will do it right now.
So that when we report year end,
Yeah, I had already changed it from rental to front desk,
yeah. Okay,
but I don't, to answer your other question, I don't know how you make that on the budget, make that work.
I
You
don't,
have to really,
I don't think for the budget you can do that. I mean,
and the problem is that's what they look at, and these lenders see our budget and they see the little line that says contribution to reserves and they say, oh, that's not even anywhere close to 10%.
I know.
So
I mean, you're gonna have to,
I already counted.
I mean, it's smoke and mirrors no matter how you do it.
yeah.
Reserves by definition kind of are. You put in, you take out every year, some amount, which usually differs.
Yeah, but the question is how much you put in and take out. The question is, on an annual basis, how much do you contribute? And these lenders want to see 10%. And 10% it's unreasonable from our standpoint. We'd have to bump up assessments enormously.
Well, yeah.
And then we'd have to start spending it because, I mean,
Yeah, that's where it gets kind of goofy is yes, exactly. If you don't intend to
otherwise,
spend about
at
that
200,000, 250,000 a year, I mean, we'd have $3 million in reserves in a few years. I mean, and the owners are going to look at that and say, why the hell are you keeping that much money hanging around?
Yeah.
Lower my dues and let's not keep doing that.
Mhm.
And then you come around back to the other problem again. All right, let's look at front desk. Does anybody need to take a break?
I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah, let's take a break. I need to use the restroom.
Ron, you want to hold on? You want me to call you?
You might like it. We hope you like it. We'll see.
Gary, are you recording?
I'm recording and we're unmuted.
Just to be clear, Gary, there's no owners on other than
No,
Jerry, Kathy, Ron, and Ron, right? That's it.
right, yeah.
Am I still?
Because I thought somebody was on early.
Jim Manzanares
That was
was
the only
on.
person that came up?
I'm sorry.
That was the only
That
other
was,
person?
that was the first one that came up, and
Oh, there we are.
I think that was the only one.
Riveting budget meetings. Riveting.
Okay.
All right. You want to minimize that, Gary? Keep it down there. Okay, so here's what we did. If you look at the beginning balance, operating and beginning balance capital on the first page there, those numbers are now 0. If you look down, the bottom, we have a line drawn from reserves, $220,000. Okay. Then if you go over to capital projects, I plugged in contribution to reserves from capital of 87,797. Why is that an odd number? Because it balances the budget for now.
Okay.
Now you go to permanent reserves, and you can see if you take, we jumbled around reordered the lines here. So all of the items at the top here, all of these lines are incoming money. So if you look at contribution from operating and contribution from capital, and you add those two up, it's well over 10% of our budget. Okay?
Yeah.
So you can now look at this and you can say, we contribute more than, now we're going to turn around and take it right back out again. I get it, we do. Okay? And there's the there's the draw, there's the match to the 220,000 on, and we just picked a number lower, so it doesn't look like we're putting an amount in and taking out the same amount.
Okay.
We could actually make that, a little less, but anyway, so that 220 matches this 220. What do you think?
I think it does it.
Okay. So now, right now, after all the discussion we've had, we have a balanced budget, leaving the assessments, owner's assessments at what they were last year. We've talked about all the capital projects. We've talked about the permanent reserves. And the only thing we haven't talked about is the front desk, which, that's the other thing we did.
Change the name.
Where'd we do that?
Oh, you got it.
You will. Service and security.
Service and
desk.
security desk. I like that.
Where is it?
It's 560, line
406,
42.
go up a little higher, Joe.
No, oh, no, it's line 42 down there.
Yeah, line 42. Front desk funding is now service and security desk.
Brilliant.
I didn't
That
come
was
up with
Eric.
I didn't come up with
Yeah,
that. Somebody else did. I can't take credit for that, but it's good.
Genius.
Oh, but
Yeah.
okay. Yes. All right, and then we go to page 5.
Okay, so this is our, and I think we're gonna change the title of this page to service and security desk. Okay. so we'll do
Including
that.
line 8.
Yeah, right. So let's see.
And take out the rental program word.
Yeah, I'll clean all that up. Don't need to do it now, but I'll clean all that up. Get rental program off of this thing totally. All right. Because really what this does is it funds the front desk. It doesn't fund the rental program, it funds the front desk.
Yeah. And that's the tap dance I do every time I get on the phone with the lender. I just, if we didn't have it so blatantly sticking out here in the words, they wouldn't get asked the question.
Okay, so we're fixing that.
Yeah.
All right. So beginning balance of 30,000, that can stay there. That doesn't factor into the whole reserves thing. The front desk funding, so that 55,175 matches what's on the revenue page. We had that budgeted at 78,830 last year. And now it's this lower amount because we experienced significant exceeding budget numbers for the admin for the $5 a month fee that we assess per room night because we had so many room nights. 35,000 budgeted, we actually collected 46. Heather's projecting that that's going to continue and even get better. And so she's projecting 50,000 for next year on that.
Okay.
I think that might be high, but that's what she's projecting. Long-term rental admin fees, that's those and the contribution rental units, the fixed amount that we assess rental units, and both the long-term and short-term went down or were less than budgeted because there's now less units being rented. We used to have 25 long-term rentals, now there's only 14. We had 105 short-term rental units, now there's only 87.
Joe, I think we've got a challenge on line 9 again.
Challenge on line 9.
Year to date is 49,000 plus, and then expected 7,000 more, and yet.
Oh, these were plugged in numbers from, hang on a minute, I'll fix that.
So we're actually looking at a reduction for 2021 versus this year.
Reduction of what?
that line from 56,000 of revenue to 50,000 of revenue.
Which is probably safe, just in case.
Okay.
We're hoping people still
Yeah,
come. this
okay,
summer.
you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's, now it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just didn't have this column adding. It was plugged in numbers. Yeah.
It might be the same with the one down below here,
Okay.
just a little bit off,
Which one?
long term.
I already fixed it.
Okay.
I just, all of these now add these two columns together. Okay, so that makes more sense. I was trying to explain something that didn't make sense. So yeah, we're projecting a little bit less than what we got this year for short-term rental night fees.
Yeah.
Because we don't think we'll have the impact, the greatest, the heaviest impact that we did from the pandemic, people coming here in droves.
So the one area that we, I wouldn't say get complaints, but it's a red flag is, the folks that are getting hit the $30 a month for rental unit, 45.
People haven't been complaining about that.
Yeah,
have
we
they?
get it every once in a while.
Yeah, but not really.
But those are the things that I'd like to see us get to a point where we can start dropping those.
Well, you
We
drop,
have other funding
if you
sources to
drop
start covering
those, well, yeah,
Yeah.
but
I know we're not.
again, how do you cross those funding sources over here?
Yeah, we're not there yet. I get it.
What about, are the words on those accounts up there gonna cause any rental admin fees? Do we need to change those words?
What words?
Like long-term rental admin fees, is that gonna raise a red flag with?
I don't think so.
No, because we're just collecting money to support the front desk from the
security.
the users that tend to use the front desk more.
Service and security.
The security desk.
Yeah. So we're actually looking for a very small uptick in long-term rentals next year. Is that really consistent with the trend? It's only two.
Well, if we have,
Drop to 14 from 25.
Right, but we only got 7,800 this year. We're expecting it to go up a couple. I'm just wondering if it ought to be 6,000.
well, it's based, the number is based on the amount of rental units we have. We have 14 rental units
We're gonna have this thing right next door.
times $45.
There's your money.
Well, but
Yeah.
pay ourselves. long-term rental
75,
fees?
60.
It comes to, Eric, to answer your question,
Yeah, I guess you're right.
14 rental units times $45 a month comes to $7,600.
Okay.
And the same thing with the math is done the same way with the short-term rental units. It's 87 units times $30 a month.
And I suspect we'll see that number of short-term rentals go up as well over time.
It's harder and harder to justify long-term rentals with the prices people are paying.
Well, I just
Take it from one guy who just did the math.
No, I just think that we have so many new owners that is, they get, I've said this multiple times, they start paying quarterly assessments and
They look for some income.
they look for something.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody thinks they're gonna be up here a lot more when they buy these things. As COVID goes away and the pressure changes on their employment and things, I think you'll see some of these folks renting again. We'll see.
So manager contract, administrative expenses, manager contract fee, that's Heather. She have basically reduced her responsibilities to Taco mostly regarding front desk staff. So we renegotiated her. By the way, did you get that clean copy from her?
Yeah, I
Yes,
signed it.
it's
And you
here.
signed it already?
Is that the final number? Was it 6K?
6K, yeah. So
I look at that.
and Heather recognizes that number is probably going to go to zero at some point.
Yeah.
And right now she gets that, plus she gets the laundry, free use of laundry facilities here on the property and free use of the housekeeping storage areas. And she'll keep getting those. That won't go away as long as she has an inventory of rental units here.
Why don't we make the coffee service go away? We're about to have a restaurant.
Coffee service is shut down on the front because of COVID.
Well, we still have it up there though.
Oh,
You don't want the coffee service?
I just think it's silly that we provide coffee. And if we're gonna have a restaurant that's open and so can sell coffee,
Are they gonna be open early in the morning?
That's their
Yeah,
plan.
they're doing breakfast for you.
Are they gonna be open like at 7 o'clock in the morning?
I think that's their plan. I mean, we can certainly have that discussion, but
I mean, if you want me to take it out of there, I'll take it out. I
And
don't
we
care.
won't be able to start it right away. We're still under restrictions for gatherings, but maybe later in the
but
season.
just out of curiosity, how many people have complained that we don't have coffee?
I haven't heard
They
much.
just go down to the pro shop.
Yeah.
And then they
Like
walk
5?
outside and they come back with a cup of coffee from Glacier.
Did they pay for it down there?
Yeah, there you gotta pay for it.
Yeah.
That's proved my point.
Yeah, they
Sell
charge.
coffee.
I don't know, but nobody said anything to me about not having coffee and not having that computer in the front lobby anymore.
Well, I mean, but there's a reason for that. If things go back to, if we go to no pandemic, you know, the vaccine works and everybody, and we're back to some semblance of normal, no more of these bullshit things. Now there's no excuse for not having
So
the
what's the
free coffee.
history behind the
But
coffee
the
service?
question is there a need? And the fact that nobody has complained about either one of them says maybe we don't even need
Well,
that.
what I'm saying is most people are logical and, you know, smart enough to think the reason you don't have coffee is,
You're giving too much credit to them, Joe.
I think we could never have coffee again and we wouldn't hear a word more about it.
Didn't we start coffee because there was no restaurant?
I don't recall.
yeah, it might have, that was probably part of the thinking, yeah. I mean, you want to dump it, we can dump it. Dump it.
Maintenance staff needs coffee.
What do they do for coffee? You guys do that coffee makers. Is that your own?
Gary buys the coffee for a maintenance office.
Okay, well, that's a different expense. I just don't think we have to give it away to all the owners. I mean, everybody here is staying in a unit.
Yeah.
Every unit has a coffee maker.
Oh, I don't think it's for owners per se. I think it's for the short-term lease folks.
Well, they got a coffee, they're staying in a unit and have a coffee maker too.
They have a
Some,
coffee maker.
some of them do.
I think it's used far more by workers.
If it's in the if it's in the rental program. it's
Glacier
supposed to have
Club
some coffee.
or
So we're more
the people who are working here, you know, on the lodge, it's
You
much
know
more used.
you know who used to come and get coffee in there every day?
Sure, I know.
Malcolm.
Now, Mal Tunlevy, and he always used the phone right next to the handicap elevator.
I don't think we need to put a computer back in there, and I don't think we need to have the coffee anymore.
Okay, no coffee? Yeah?
Agreed.
That would be an additional burden for you. But
Yeah,
there's
I
people that
think
you,
they'll be
yeah.
totally fine.
Okay,
That may be a new law.
we'll sell them extra bags of coffee for their coffee maker.
I'm in printing boarding passes and
That
stuff.
just knocked this number up here down by $3,000.
I think most people check in online anyway. I mean,
Well,
every once in a while, they may have to print a boarding pass, but
What if we added something like uniforms or these cool jackets for the girls?
we'll sell them to them at cost.
How many,
How about badges and guns?
Security desk.
Security.
Lisa, how many ladies up front?
What did we just say, 6? 6. 2 night guys and 4.
What kind of jackets you want to get them?
These, they already got them.
We got them.
You see them? Yeah, these are nice.
Are those,
Because in,
They actually already have them.
is
in
that
the
what
future,
Ann
we-
ordered?
No, Gary ordered those.
Oh, you got them, okay.
Sorry.
I was gonna
We
say,
ordered those before the,
Well, those are break even. We don't want any 40%
Yeah,
markup on those.
I was just gonna say, in the future, I'll comp those for everybody. Seriously.
They love these, yeah.
Okay, just let me know.
Something.
They just have a
That
big,
was the other part of the motivation. I got a vendor here that can sell this stuff.
No, but this is when I can chip in and that way
Right.
they're not paying for anything.
Okay, marketing. Heather's doing all her marketing on her own now, so that's another savings. This 1,500 is just for the annual production of the Durango Discovery Map, so we can have that out there for people. So we do that. Administrative services and supplies. We've got the cost of Bookerville in there now. Bookerville is our on-property database. Who's here, who's not, who's renting, who's what units are occupied, which aren't, that sort of thing. and the registration inserts that we buy for when people check
And then
in.
ink and toner, other items.
Yeah, stuff like that. Office equipment, I'm not sure what are we?
That's a safe thing, just for if the printer breaks or.
Yeah, okay. Ski shuttle, they're gonna limit the number of riders per van. There's gonna be one van up, one van down in the morning and the afternoon, and they'll limit the number of riders. So it's gonna be a fixed maximum. They won't send them, if they have more people try to sign up, they'll be out of luck. It's one van, and I think what's the maximum number?
13?
13 or something. That's gonna be larger. Yeah.
So if we had 0, if people said, I don't want to ride in the shuttle with all those other sick people, we still pay this? Or
No,
it's just as used.
We pay based on the number of riders. So if nobody rides, we don't pay anything.
No, and 0.
We pay or rider pays us?
We don't charge the riders.
We don't, okay.
No.
Yeah.
It's
So
a
that's-
Benny. It's a Benny.
So that's a $5,000 or $5,500 benefit to our skiers.
Not anymore. Well, we reduced it to 3 because of the limit, because of limiting it.
So just,
That's 7.
so you know, we do have some that take complete advantage of it.
I've heard
No.
that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's primarily Brian.
Brian
Well,
Martinez.
I'm wondering, yeah, we're gonna cut out coffee. Why do we provide a ski shuttle?
It was my suggestion that we just not do it this year, but I agree.
And should it be in front desk? Could it go into operations?
How about we just throw them in the back of the new Tamaron truck and they can ride it in the pickup?
A couple beach chairs back there.
Say, we'll take them.
In Texas.
That's in
We'll take
Texas, that's all we got.
Take them all the way down to the 550 interchange and then walk from there.
We're gonna buy a ski bag.
That's
Um,
funny.
I'm saying that's a limited benefit for everybody paying. Ski shuttle.
It helps with the rental program now.
Yeah.
Where this comes into play is people who come here and they don't have a car.
How do they get here without a car in this day and age?
Uber, whatever,
Buckhorn.
yeah.
Or it's a really snowy day and they don't.
Or it's a snowy day and they don't want to drive their own car.
Yeah, I think
And
it's
busy days like
what I think it's
like
more-
Christmas
it's more
time
the
and stuff like
Texans
that.
and Arizonans that don't want to drive in the snow because they're
Well,
scared.
Well, or there's people like real heavy days like during the Christmas season. Those parking lots get filled so fast.
Wow,
They don't want to do that either.
And some people drive up here and they don't have the ability to load all their skis and everything into the car that they came in. So that's part of it too.
Okay. Personnel expenses. So there's an uptick in the salaries. I'll comment on our maintenance staff and our front desk staff. We've done some, over the last year or so, we've done some looking at salaries, hourly wages, and what it takes to hire people and keep people. So all of our salaries are now competitive with the local marketplace, and so we brought everybody up some. So
Does this anticipate a raise in 2021?
it does.
Okay.
It's factored in.
Can't tell from the line, but okay.
No.
So there is,
It's factored in.
it's kind of I guess it's up to the supervisor to allocate it rather than across the board.
There's, the controls are right there. They have their budgets. They know what they can spend. And
So do you still have any, I'm gonna miss this, but do you still have any hiring needs or you filled all your gaps now?
Janitorial, we have an opportunity in janitorial area. I have a day.
I'm not interested.
I have a day spot open, but we're gonna see how we go through the winter before we go. Okay. Because I think we're gonna see some efficiency.
You need to talk to Kathy.
Talk to
Kathy.
Oh. No.
Landscaping guy?
Yep.
That's.
That's her guy.
Hi,
Kathy.
I hope he's
Hi.
factored in there, Kathy.
He's outside. He's actually doing landscaping as we speak at our house.
No, but if we can budget in one ski pass, Elisa,
Oh, yeah.
if we budget in one ski pass,
We would have a great.
we
employee.
would have a great janitorial staff.
What's this?
Lisa,
We got a janitor girl that wants to work at Purgatory this winter because.
A
she gets
girl?
this-
She's your girl.
Yeah. Happens to be my halfway college educated kid, but
What's the cost of a ski
the
pass?
boys think it's
Like
like
$800.
What's the if you buy it now, is it still $800?
It probably is, but they give you discount.
Yeah, the discounts are in April.
Yeah, the discounts are way back.
Yeah.
And it depends on if you want a 7-day or a 5-day weekday pass. I don't know how much.
Well, weekday was $300.
What?
Weekday was 300 back in April, 280.
I think my pass was 4 senior passes, like 4 something.
Shay won't pass for a senior.
Anyway,
We might be too late with that, Gary. She already committed to it.
Did she?
I'm talking her out of it.
Okay.
So the employee benefits, we just don't have, we spent none this year?
Nobody.
yeah,
cares
it's
about-
because at the front desk, we've plugged money in there and people don't take us up on the health insurance.
But we think they will next year?
I've got one that's very, I'm sure she will take it. Another who's on Colorado Medicaid, so she won't. Race is now 26, so he may not be covered by his parents, so I'm thinking he might take it.
And then the IRA is in there too.
Yeah, plus the
For the
3%
front
match.
desk people that opt in for the IRA.
Oh, I thought that was over. Okay.
Weekday
Yes,
ski
it's,
pass is
this is the
500.
front desk.
Front desk,
We
okay.
split it up.
Yeah, okay.
Weekday ski pass is 500.
I think this is next. Be careful.
Okay, so then the payroll tax and the workers' comp are just percentages. And that budget is balanced at this point. So, because I took that, we zeroed out the coffee and I reduced the expense for the service and security desk, which goes over to the operations revenue. That reduces that number as well. And there you have it. So that means we're going to have a, okay, yeah, it's still there. Wait a minute. I don't have that ported over, so it's. What is that?
The only thing I was asked to look into was the parking lot.
All right, so I guess the only thing left to decide is if you want to
Why do you want?
delete anything else or knock out anything else, adjust anything else.
Do we want to, I don't know if you added that the security camera line item. Did you?
Where was that?
In capital.
Probably in capital.
Parking lot cameras,
Jim and I were
8,000.
just talking about perhaps more security cameras or an upgrade. Dave said that there was a budget, like we had budgeted for an upgrade to the current security cameras because the DVRs were old and I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I would suspect that, I mean, those cameras have been in here how long here? Long gone.
A long time. I
And
don't
we
know
get,
about
what,
long
2 weeks of recording out of them?
I think that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, you're probably gonna need to upgrade, especially if you add a lot more cameras.
And a few more inside the lodge.
Plus, those are all wired cameras now, correct?
Yeah, these technology right now,
Uh,
security cameras, is amazing.
They'll be wired at the parking lot and then they're remote through the wireless.
Okay. Because I mean, a lot of the cameras you can buy today are just work over Wi-Fi.
So you could add a little bit to that to get some more cameras? Or would you?
Well, I mean,
I mean, it doesn't sound like they're ridiculously expensive. I mean, we budgeted 8. If it comes in at 10, it's not gonna kill the budget, so I wouldn't.
well, if we want to add 4 or 5 of the storage place, if we want to add 4 or 5 around the front door on the sidewalks, you know, that adds up to another 10 pretty quick.
So are you, are you talking about expanding this parking lot cameras to just
Just call it security cameras.
security cameras? And you want to up that number?
I do.
I mean, where do you stop? I mean, you're gonna need at least 5
Well,
if we want to put cameras in the storage
I
area.
don't think you'd need that many. I think
Why don't
just,
you- why don't
just
you
to
bump it to
show that
12?
a lot of people,
just add a
Another
few
15.
for now, and we can
Yeah.
get a few
just that there's one there.
It's not like you have to do them all at once.
See, they don't know
Sure.
how many you have.
And
Most
everybody knows.
storage units.
You
When I
can
was-
use, you know, you can use dummy
On
cameras
the
too.
parking lot, I want
Millions of
signage
would,
that says
you know,
they're there.
in a security
So
area.
If all you're looking for is
Deters
a
traffic.
deterrent, you can use a dummy
There
camera.
that.
If we decide to put them in the storage units at some point, that's fine. I'm not that concerned.
other
We
areas?
we haven't had them forever. It's not like we need them tomorrow.
sidewalks. I don't know if that's covered.
Just for the entry.
For the entry areas.
Or
Aren't
you
there
do
some
have a
other, there's some
couple.
other areas that aren't monitored, that people are sneaking in with their dogs.
Why don't you make that 15 and then we can do a layout, figure out what we want to do.
Maybe a camera on the back there.
Where do we have them today? Do we
They're
have
in
the front doors covered?
Central tower lobby and the
Yeah, I
front
know
door
where those
there.
are. But like the North Tower is the entrance
And the
there.
North Tower entrance
They used to do the
and the
workout,
front desk
didn't
counter.
you? Y'all watched them all the time.
So how many,
Yeah.
Or
so how many other points? have
What
been
about the
addressed?
entrance that's in the entrance that's in the alcove where the storage is? Do we have one
No.
there? Should put one there.
Where
That's an
where do they
entrance.
enter with their dogs?
That's where they enter with their dogs.
Is that where it is? Yeah. I mean, we're trying to bust people who are tenants that are sneaking in with their dogs.
Where
Yeah,
you,
like the,
where you go up that little
hairdressing.
stairway into the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
floor of the lodge
There's
from where the owner storage is.
and the hairdressing entrance.
I'll get some floor plans, a site plan. Talk to that.
So can we try, you said 15?
I'm gonna put 15 in there. Okay.
So a couple, again, we don't have anybody else, any other owners on the phone, right?
No.
Still the same group.
I
We're getting into some quasi-water discussions here, so.
Can we also cycle through long-term asset, just so I have some guidance from the board as to what to put in this thing?
Well, let me ask you this. Do we need to keep recording? We need to stop the recording.
And we can stop the recording. Hang on.
The only one on is, who's our